The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
It is savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals that can save you thousands. Visit standardheating.com for all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
Do you know what today is?
Today's Wednesday.
You know it, baby.
Good morning, my neighbors!
Zoom just announced that you could now have 1 million people on a meeting at once. Oh. After the Zoom meeting, everyone will be like, this could have been a 1 million-person email.
In a new study, scientists are researching the possible health benefits of using the milk of female horses in ice cream. I'm going to say nay.
A portion of a highway in California was closed last week after a truck overturned and spilled hundreds of boxes of raisins onto the road. Now what'll we do? Said the worst house on Halloween.
He's prepared for it to get weird.
All right, showtime.
I hear you. I do. You know, Cubby, like Richard Marx said all those years ago, he said, you should have known better than to fall in love with me.
Solid tune.
Ain't that the truth?
Solid tune.
Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. She's a Wednesday.
I've felt that over the years in relationships. I'm a bit of a bad boy, a wild card. You just don't know. Stay away from a guy like, you couldn't handle this, Dottie. Stay away.
Should have known better. Did you just call me Dottie?
Dottie. That is what I like to call a Pee Wee Herman reference.
Oh, Christ
which you might not have been
almighty.
expecting, so I'm a loner, Dottie.
Probably didn't expect a Richard Marx reference, nor a Pee Wee, but that's how we play things around here. Welcome to the show. It's going to be a hell of a day. Let me ask you something, Josh. Have you ever effed around and then found out?
Plenty of times. I just did over the weekend where I thought I was in good enough shape to help move someone, and my back, I can barely walk still.
You might have done some damage to your lower lumbar.
I did exactly what they say, lift with your back. Lift with your back.
Right.
I did that.
Put all the weight on your back when lifting.
And so Monday, Saturday is when the move happened. Sunday, it wasn't bad. Monday, it was terrible. It always seems to how it goes, right?
Yeah.
It's like the second day. And then I thought, well, how could I fix this? Well, I might as well carry a mini fridge down 8 flights of stairs on Monday.
Sure.
So I haven't done myself any favors.
You could probably use a 60, 70-pound kid to walk up and down on your spine.
All I've had the last couple of days is leftover spaghetti and Advil. That's 2 things that I've been consuming.
That's
what the doctor ordered.
That's the hot new slogan. The young people can't stop saying F around and find out. I was wondering if you'd ever, so just this weekend, you effed around, you found out you shouldn't be lifting heavy things, going up the stairs, this and that.
Also tried my hand at my own electrical, if you can call it that, several years ago, where I thought I could probably switch out some light switches. I mean, that's easy enough. And as a newbie, I turned off the power to the circuit, and I start working on it. And this was right at the entrance of a split-level townhouse I was living at. And I never realized there might be 2 circuits hooked up to that same bank of switches. And so when I grabbed one by the sides, right at the screws, I shocked the living bejesus out of me, not realizing that could be a thing.
Did it send you right across to the other side of the room?
No, well, I forgot who I was for a split second.
Yeah.
And just like in the cartoons, the little hair I had left was standing straight up and smoke was coming out of my ears.
We'd, of course, love to get our listening audience involved. Text us if you've effed around and then you found out. Our number is 651-989-9393. Otherwise known as you did something that resulted in great regret.
Sure. I've done that with Goldschlager.
Oh, yeah.
Where I thought, well, I could probably drink a gallon of this and be totally fine. That didn't work out so well for me.
Yeah, it could be something you said to someone that backfired. It could be something that you did that backfired. Something you ate, something you drank, any damn thing. You effed around and then you found out.
I effed around and found out about a weed whipper last week. I haven't lived in a house since, I'm living in a house right now with my fiance, but until then, since I moved out of my parents' place, I've been living in apartments. So
sure.
Haven't had to do any lawn care, that type of stuff. Now I have a yard. I got to help take care of it. So the weed whipper was out of like the string, whatever the stuff that spins around.
Sure, again.
Yeah. So I went to Home Depot. I got a new one. I'm like, hey, I found the thing I needed. I put it in. I'm feeling good about myself. I go and kind of gun it a couple times. This thing shot across like a Yager slapper across a yard. Over like 50 miles an hour. Could have killed a small animal if I would have hit it. It just smashes against the house. Apparently, what I found out is that you should get the right brand weed whipper string for the type of weed whipper you have.
You effed around and found out you're not built for yard work.
Pretty much, yeah.
So wait a minute. So I thought it was all pretty standard. What do you, is that?
No.
I've had weed whippers, and you just go and you get the stuff. You get the orange string, and you're good to go.
I got a different kind, I guess. So I got a Ryobi one. We didn't have a Ryobi one or a weed whipper.
Kenobi.
So it didn't quite fit in there all the way. So the little socket wasn't completely shut, and that's why I just fired off across the yard at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
It was like a IED.
Yeah.
Is that the word? Right?
That would work.
Yeah, it's like a bomb kind of
improvised explosive device.
There you go. That's what I was trying to go for.
I used to landscape, and I remember thinking, when I first started, the dude's like, all right, actually, no, this was lawn care, not landscape. He's like, make sure you put on some eye protection when you weed whip. And I thought, okay, dude, yeah, I think I'll be okay. And I took a rock right to the eye.
Oh, dude,
so now
ouch.
anytime I put on some those clear little work glasses, if I'm going to weed whip.
I'm picturing a kid rolling by on a bike, sees you in the glasses. Nerd!
Oh, man, that's fine. That hurt so bad, and I felt so stupid because I thought, okay, I got this, man.
You weed whipped a rock into your own eye.
Yeah, a little pebble right into my eye.
Again, text us, 651-989-9393. Give us any example of when you effed around and found out.
Big bearded Jared said he water skied Sunday with his little girl and still can hardly move his shoulders. Yeah, I've never water skied, but I'd imagine I'd have quite the death grip out of fear if I was going to try something like that.
I was pretty friggin' good at that when we were young.
Could you do the one ski? Drop the ski and go on another one?
No, my buddies could. I never tried the one ski. Maybe I would have been brilliant at it, but I could do things. I could do friggin' things.
Oh, you're the most athletic person ever. I bet you could do it first shot.
I've never heard you say you weren't the best at something.
What are we talking about?
Anything. You've always said, I used to be the best at this, or I was the best at
I
it.
never tried it. The one ski.
No, I'm saying water skiing.
Yeah, I was the best.
This person
isn't that what I said?
Yes, that's what I just said.
I was without a doubt the best.
This person said I effed around with a can of bug spray and a lighter and found out with a handful of blisters.
Oh. You kept the bug in your hand when you lit it on fire?
I think he's saying that the spray came back at him.
Oh.
Would that be something else if he just held on to the bug and lit it on fire?
I don't know.
The only one I can think of right now off the top of my head, me and my buddy.
Here we go.
When we moved into our house, we got these crappy bed frames from this big box store that you put together yourself that already sucks. And we got drunk. I think it took us about 8 hours to put it together. It was brutal. Do not get drunk and put together furniture.
You know, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But me and some pals effed around and found out that when you build a fish house in your garage, you can very easily make the mistake of building the house too big to get out of the garage.
Oh, no.
Ridiculous.
That was it was a relatively easy fix. It was more hilarious than anything. But I will never forget, talking to my old man on the telephone. And he says, what are you boys up to? I said, well, we're building a fish house in the garage. And he said, don't build it too big to get out of the garage. And
yeah,
I said,
we know.
And I said, what?
We're not that dumb.
Because my dad made that same mistake when he was a younger guy. He built the fish house in the garage, and once it was time to punch it all together, they realized they couldn't get it. And I said, we're not going to make that friggin' mistake. We did. But that's not anything that, there weren't any real repercussions. I do enjoy reminiscing on that. Probably my ultimate effed around and found out.
I could see anybody making that mistake your first time.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think about something like that.
Probably my ultimate effed around and found out moment was when I effed around mixing hard liquor and drugs before an airplane ride. That's probably, and you all know the story. That
I was
is
there for
probably,
that.
yes, you were, and you saved me from incarceration. That has to be the one in the highlight of my effing around and finding out career.
Wapple, you and I both had the same one. We both took the ride with a taser.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to do that again.
No. Okay.
That was way worse than I thought it was going to be.
Well, are you going to try to make up for that bed frame story? Because that kind of sucked.
Yeah, that was terrible.
What do you got?
What was worse, getting shocked by the electrical outlet or the taser?
Taser by far.
Really?
The taser was the most invasive pain I've ever felt my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, because it
Felt like a sewing machine was going at me.
Because it's like in your body, under your skin, and every point of your body.
That sounds absolutely awful.
And outside of like I can't think of anything else where 5 seconds feels longer.
Yep.
That I couldn't believe that was only 5 seconds.
The first second was fine. You're like, oh, this isn't. Ah!
The Australian Jesus said in Perth he unknowingly drag raced a cop at a traffic light.
Whoops.
So the cop had an unmarked vehicle and was baiting him, right? He was revving. And so Australian Jesus thought, okay, I could take this jerkwad, took off, and it was a cop. That's not fair.
Yeah,
they
that's
have to
not fair
tell
at
you you're a
all.
cop. That's the rule. Jesus said he had an affair. Definitely the worst effing around and finding out there can be. Life lessons learned the hard way. Well, what happened? What was the result of that?
Yeah, man, we need more on that. What are you waiting on, Ashley?
There's so many.
That's
Your entire life has been effing around and finding out.
Yeah, the one that popped in my head right away was in high school. It was the homecoming football game, and me and my friends had some drinks. We didn't eat prior to having drinks.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And so I guess when you don't eat, my dad told me this later, they can smell the alcohol a lot better. So I was screaming about, I don't know, football, talking crap about the other people on the other side of the field. And I looked to my right and there was like a teacher right there. And I got in huge trouble because she smelled the booze on me right away.
Anybody here ever effed around and found out with someone you thought you could beat up? You get in a fight with someone and
Never
realize
been in a fight.
I am greatly outmatched?
No, usually when I went into a fist fight, Josh, I knew that I was the underdog.
That's probably maybe the right attitude to have, so you don't underestimate the other person. I never have in a real fight, but I have just messing around, like with my stepson or something like that, where I think, this kid weighs about 100 pounds. I'm going to take him and then realize,
Comes at you like a spider monkey.
I might be in some trouble here.
He hasn't taken you, has he?
No, he puts up more of a fight than I would have thought. I thought I had him a little easier and realized, of course, you have to pretend like this ain't nothing.
Yep.
But there are a couple times I thought, oh my God, I might not win this one.
You have to start incorporating weapons. That'll help you out.
I don't think you're allowed to do something like that, are you?
Well, he's your kid. You can do whatever you want. That is a great question. Have you effed around and found out in the style of, you bothered somebody, antagonized somebody into a fight, and you had all the confidence in the world that you were going to thrash this poor bastard, and they turned the tables on you? I've never been in that situation. Like I said, if ever I was in a fist fight back in the day, I always thought there's a real good chance that I'm going to get pummeled here. But I did see it happen once to one of my best friends. Oh, man, in high school, he would terrorize this one dude. Talking a lot of trash, insulting this kid. Your typical bully behavior, right? And finally, this kid turned on my pal, and they were squared up to fight. Finally, this kid had enough and faced my pal nose to nose and said, I've had enough. Let's let her buck. And this kid beat the piss out of my bro. I mean, pummeled him. And it was a beautiful thing. It really was. Because even I was tired of the nonsense. You know what I mean? Tired of
humbled him.
More than humbled him. By the end of the fight, my buddy, who had spent a full year just torturing this kid, I mean, and that's a dramatic word. You know what I mean? Just, hey, dickhead, hey, loser, all that stuff. By the end of the fight, my buddy extended his hand and said, I'm sorry. And I'll give the other kid credit. He said, dude, I'm sorry too. They shook hands, and that was it was pretty glorious to watch, I got to admit.
Oh, here's a good one. Thank you for the reminder. Overly optimistic Vikings fan Jesus said, can you tell the story about how your brother punched you and you fought back? Tears? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. We were arguing. It's especially what seems like when you're a younger person, you have these opinions and your opinion is the best opinion, whatever. And for me, it was music. Anything with music, I knew what I was talking about. Nobody else did if they disagreed, right? And I feel stupid that I even felt that way. But I remember,
I was the exact same way.
In middle school and even into high school, I was, these uneducated plebes. They don't even know what they're talking about. That's not music.
Right.
And my brother was into like rap and R&B and stuff like that. And at the time, I hated it. I was into metal and stuff. There was like a war, right? And I just couldn't stand it. And we shared a room, so he'd have those posters up. I'd have like tapestries of Iron Maiden or Megadeth or whatever.
He had Boys to Men and Jodeci.
Yeah, and like Janet Jackson and stuff like that. So
she
Boys
looked more
to
like
Men
Freddie Jackson.
Boys to Men is the argument we had.
Oh.
And I was saying how much they sucked. And now I regret it because I realized they're catchy. Right? I regret I was telling them, and I was like, this is me effing around and finding out. I'm like, and we used to get in a lot of fights, but we never punched each other in the face, ever. Balls and face, they were off limits. And so I had said, hey, man, if you're so pissed, why don't you just hit me? Oh! Put my arms out and everything, like, bring it, thinking, you're not going to do anything. And he socked me right in the jaw. And I was so shocked, I couldn't believe it. And you're right, overly optimistic Vikings fan, Jesus. I almost cried. I was more out of shock that I couldn't believe a brother would punch a brother in the face. Never got him back for that one. I'm just biding my time.
Yeah, there'll be a day.
Right, he can still kick my ass even though he's younger at this point, but there'll become a time where I can get in there.
Josh, back to your scenario about effing around and finding out about, getting in a fight with somebody who you think you can easily take. The only time I've ever really been in a fight, it wasn't really necessarily like a vicious fight, but my freshman year in St. Cloud State, we had a short-lived fight club type thing in the basement. One kid brought a couple pairs of boxing gloves. We'd go down, he'd challenge a guy, he'd swing away a little bit and be done. And then one kid challenged me. He was the smallest kid in the dorm, probably about 5'5". And, I'm over 6 feet. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, guy. All right, yeah, sure. I'll go a couple rounds with you, spar a little bit, but I'm not, I don't want to hurt you type of thing. We tap gloves. Next thing I know, I am being helped off the ground after getting knocked smooth out.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's kind of awesome.
Turns out the kid was like a MMA, jiu-jitsu, every type of combat sport expert and had been training his whole life.
Everybody knows how to fight now.
And he knocked my ass out cold.
This person said the biggest F around and find out is don't mess with a guy with cauliflower ear. Yeah, I would watch that too.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, I would watch that.
That's a good point.
He ended up winning the fight, but a friend of mine was like a junior gold boxer. I think that's the term. And he was pretty good. And he was getting matched up. I think they were like in St. Cloud or something like that. They're getting ready for this big tournament. And he's looking at the name on the board. And he thought, oh, that's an interesting name. I haven't seen a boxer with that name. And they step in the ring and he realizes it's a girl. And he's thinking, okay, I'm just going to win on points. I can't hit a girl, whatever. And as soon as they touched gloves, she hit him so hard in the face, he said he saw stars and thought, okay, it's go time. So he ended up winning the fight, but he effed around and found out he totally underestimated her, and I think she wanted to prove a point. And he said that was a powerful punch.
That's a great story.
But especially because he's sitting there going, well, I'll just win this on. This will be an easy one. I'll win on points, and that's that.
Feel free to text us 651-989-9393. We can revisit this later on in the program if we want to. Tell us about when you effed around and found out with the law, or you effed around and found out with a girlfriend, a boyfriend, cheating. Like that earlier story, we want to hear more about that. Dude said he cheated and it was a total disaster. Maybe you effed around and found out with the boss. You effed around with drinking, smoking, coming off cute with the mouth.
I had when we were young guys, a lot of dares, right? It's pretty common. Mm-hmm. And you didn't want to back down from a dare. And some guy thought that I couldn't eat a spoonful of horseradish and be okay. Now, so I tried it, and I did everything I could not to throw up every fluid in my body out of that. Everything's pouring out of my eyes. I was sweating my ass off. That was terrible. I found out, don't eat a spoonful of horseradish.
Friggin'
Gross,
you damn
yeah.
non-drinking teens.
Well, those guys did a lot of drugs, but yeah,
things that-
not me. But yeah, horseradish, that was very owie.
Yeah, I guess snorting the dust of Sour Patch Kids. That was terrible.
Yeah, I thought
really?
that wasn't going to hurt as bad as it did.
Did it hurt?
Yeah.
Oh,
Was it just because snorting something hurts or just...
I think it's the
All the
sugar and the sourness. I remember just half of my face was just red.
Oh, speaking of faces, Gamer Jesus said he effed around and found out as a child trying to separate two dogs fighting, and he found out by getting 32 stitches in his face.
32?
Oh, I just remembered another one from like middle school. We would play this game called Highest Point.
Oh yeah, that game sucked.
And you would take a can and someone would start off and you would karate chop it. And then from there you would find the highest point of the can and your other buddy would go and chop the highest point. And boy, would you mess up your hand.
Why do dudes like to hurt themselves so much?
Because we're friggin' hard-ons that want to try and prove how tough we are.
Yep.
It's just like the old games of Bloody Knuckles. And what was that knife game?
Oh, yeah.
Five-finger fillet.
Whatever
That's
it was.
what you called it in Red Dead Redemption.
I forgot what we called it.
We called it something different, too.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called in my neighborhood, but the spread your fingers out with the knife gimmick is stupid.
One of my buddies still
It's
does
it's what we do. It's I think what we do to unleash sexual tension.
Probably.
Josh, is that how you define it?
Probably,
those
yeah.
those young games we play, dangerous
And
games.
sometimes you thought, oh, the chicks are going to really be all over me when I try this one.
No,
Nope.
no.
I remember whenever we'd sit and play those games, usually the girls would leave the room completely, and then we were defeating the purpose of what we thought we were doing in the first place. Here's an entry already on how you effed around and found out. I found out that nearly incapable of getting pregnant does not equal incapable of getting pregnant.
No.
Oof,
Job
that's scary.
hopping Jesus. I'd love more information on this. She texted and said, as a fifth grader who didn't take it seriously, I was threatened by the Secret Service.
Oh wow.
I'm sorry.
Oh, this is vertically challenged Jesus.
Probably
You're
made a
messing around the
threat
internet?
online, yeah.
I guess she must have something, I guess.
Said something, and the Secret Service had to contact her as a fifth grader.
As a fifth grader.
That must have been cute, whatever you said on MySpace that day. Yeah, a good friend of mine found out that nearly incapable of getting pregnant does not equal incapable of getting pregnant. The wife kind of misled him on the whole birth control thing, you know what I mean?
That's not right.
And he told me straight up, I thought this was quite funny, when his final child was born, that he thought they were done, right? He thought they were done. We're done having kids, right? He says to the wife, and she says, oh yeah, I'm loaded up on birth control. There ain't a damn thing to get me pregnant, right? Well, she ends up pregnant.
You know, I don't
When that final child was born, he straight up told me, he said, you know, I'll always care for the kid. I will. But I won't love the child, and I'll always make sure that he knows that he was totally unnecessary.
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heartwarming.
It started out kind of nice. I'll always care for the kid, and then it really took a turn there. Mm-hmm. We had a bit of a scare not too long ago, my wife and I. I mean, I'm shooting blanks for the most part, and I thought of all the infertility treatments, the IVF, all that kind of stuff, and now I'm near 50, and she's a few years younger, but looks a lot older than I do. I thought this is not the time for something like that.
That would be some BS.
Can you imagine?
You went through all that trouble to have a kid, and then you just have one by accident later.
We thought, oh no, that was there were mixed emotions at that point.
Yep.
That's for sure.
I can imagine. Well, maybe we can come back to this. What else is going on today? It's Wednesday, so Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder will dive into the mix with us at 7:30. We got your chances to jump on our Rock the River boat party coming up in about a month.
Sorry, one more here. I found out that if you try and give a cop your debit card as your ID, they take you to jail for a DWI.
I love when that happens on cops.
We'll take a break. We'll be back here in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Did you know that Standard Heating opened its doors over 90 years ago? That's right. Tony Ferreira opened the doors in 1930, now ran by his granddaughter Claire Ferreira. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning today and experience the customer service and care that holds true today.
It is savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals that can save you thousands. Visit standardheating.com for all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
Are you tired of losing your fantasy football league year after year? Lindsay Rhodes, Emmy-winning sportscaster and football analyst, is your new secret weapon on the Believe Fantasy Football Show.
Watch the quarterbacks and his ADP. I think he has massive high-end upside.
Get expert analysis on player rankings.
Wide receiver 22 in fantasy, Cecil Shorts.
That kid can run, so I'm thinking he can have a breakout season this year.
And you can too by searching the Believe Fantasy Football Show. That's BLEAV wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, God. Stupid news, huh? We'll get there. I swear to Christ we will. Nobody, no damn buddy will be seeing this here uncorked violent junkie out in public for a long time, if ever again. If ever again, because of the way he came off at a Burger King restaurant a couple years ago. And he's going bye-bye now. He's a 40-year-old dickhead by the name of Eugene Robertson. Back a couple years ago, he pulled a gun out of his pocket because a Burger King worker wouldn't accept drugs as a payment for a meal. Just Eugene's luck, right, Josh, that he runs into the Burger King worker who follows the company's policies.
Yeah.
Probably trying to suck up to the boss or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not going to accept.
Maybe the new guy.
New guy.
Wapple, your dream is to open a food truck. Would you accept drugs for a wiener or whatever you decide to sell out of there?
These were meth rocks, to be if that matters at all to you.
Yeah, it does. Then no. Probably no to heroin and meth rocks.
But what if couldn't you trade those for weed? To drug people that are into, like at Halloween, you might trade out some dots for a Kit Kat with one of the neighbor kids.
Yeah,
drug.
I wouldn't
people
trust
don't
that
do that.
weed.
Yeah.
When are
Is
you
it
going
okay to call you drug people? I don't know why I phrased it that way.
No, that's cool. I'm fine with it.
Do you think you'll ever set aside the weed and move on to hard drugs? You're not in junior high anymore.
Probably not.
No?
Have
I
you
like
tried
weed
hard
way
drugs?
too much.
Yeah. You have? What's the hardest drug you've ever had?
Acid.
Oh, my God.
That's pretty hard.
How long ago was this?
Oh, boy. Oh, man. This was back in high school?
Wapple, can I tell you something?
That surprises me.
It did some permanent damage. We've
It
noticed.
probably did.
Yeah.
I think it's time to grow up. So, guy offers up a bag of meth for a meal at Burger King. The cashier turns him down. And what he did is putting him away for a long, long time. Who wants to guess how long? Of course, if you don't already know the story. Who wants to know, who wants to guess how long this guy's going to spend in the Stony Lonesome?
25 years.
25 is our first guess.
32.
32 is, that's Ashley. Wapple, what do you got?
46.
143 years.
Dang.
Wow.
That's
Whoa.
going to be a while.
And that's because he wasn't done acting up after he yanked the gun out on the Burger King cashier. After he got turned down at Burger F Me Running King, he went on over across the street to the neighborhood 7-Eleven and pointed a gun at the head of the store clerk over there. When he noticed a surveillance camera was filming him, he shot at the camera. Then he hauled his junky ass out into the parking lot and shot at anybody who crossed his path. Folks said, before he put on his Wild West show there in the parking lot, they said, quote, Eugene appeared to be off and that he was talking about God and carrying a Bible.
Oh, man.
And that is a sure sign that somebody is not okay. And I'll tell you this. Later that night, Eugene fired a few shots at a gal friend of his. Went over to her place. Shot at her.
So did he hit anybody, or is he just as bad of a shot as like a Bond henchman?
Luckily, no one was injured at all while Eugene was having his little meltdown. The cops later found him hiding in the bushes. Summers, a jury found him guilty of 17 crimes, including 8 counts of attempted murder. 143. That's all for Eugene.
He was facing a sentence of 400 years. I didn't even know they had something like that.
They're really throwing the book at him.
That just says, we hate your guts.
Yeah, you're never coming out.
400.
All right, you got good behavior. Now you have 200 years left.
Yeah, we're going to cut that in half.
That's Eugene's story. Many of you are already aware of the fact that some folks, they're just waiting for a reason to be violent, looking for a reason. Like this little assbag sissy right here from South Carolina. A dude has been accused of holding a weapon on the folks at a neighborhood candy store. Apparently, douchebag wanted to return some candy, and there was a dispute. And, of course, the solution, point a gun at some people, right? That's what we do now. There was something he didn't like about his box of dots or whatever. Jesus. I think this jagoff was all coked up or something like that. He goes by the name of Joshua Kim. He's 36 years old and still wetting his pants at the candy store. The story says he went into a joint called Sugar Life Ice Cream and Candy Bar and argued with 2 employees over returning candy. When one of the employees told Dickless here that he could not have a refund, he pulled out his little gun and threatened to shoot the 2 workers. He said, this is a direct quote according to the local police, "I put a chunk in your head if you don't bring me back my money right now. It's no lie. It's no lie."
If I was a bad guy, I'd probably try and come up with a few cool phrases ahead of time if I was walking in. Like maybe a candy-themed one or something like that.
I could see you being real cool about it. I can guarantee you that you wouldn't say, "I put a chunk in your head."
No.
You're going to do what? It actually all was a lie, because he didn't do jack squat. When the cops caught up to this jackass, he had some cocaine on him and some marijuana cigarettes and this and that. Along with the drug charges, Joshua Kim was charged with 2 counts of pointing and presenting firearms at a person and unlawful conduct toward a child. So, maybe the candy store employee was under 18, or the story did say there were little kids in the store when the dude did his fake gangster routine, or it says that there was some other incident involving this Joshua Kim idiot where he had 3 kids in the car with him. Hell, I don't know. The guy hangs out with little kids a lot. He's a modern-day Captain Kangaroo, I guess. I don't know.
I can't imagine being in a bad mood at a candy store, and I don't even have a sweet tooth. You guys ever been to that huge candy store in Jordan?
Yes, I love that place.
Nothing but whimsy.
Yep, that's so true.
That's a great way to describe that place, Josh.
Like I said, I'm not into it. I'm not into candy specifically, but I love going to that place. I think, there's this many kinds of pop? I didn't know that.
Yeah, heck yeah.
They got a whole section for this kind of thing?
I was at one of the candy stores in Stillwater recently, and they still sell the old school candy cigarettes. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, I didn't think they could sell those in.
Yeah, I picked up a pack.
You could probably quit anytime you want.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just do it socially, Josh. Maybe if I'm drinking or with friends, I'll have a couple candy cigarettes.
Sure, just at a party, maybe a stressful day.
Yeah.
I love sweets, and yes, I've been to that Jordan candy store a few times, and they have my ultimate weakness. And you don't find this stuff. Well, I guess I don't look terribly hard. I don't go to a candy store very often. But whenever I hit that joint in Jordan, well, it's been a few years, but the last time, they have my ultimate weakness there, and that is peanut brittle.
My mom can whip you up a batch of that. My mom is not a good cook, but she can bake like no one else.
I'll whip your mom up a batch of something or another, I'll tell you that. If your mother...
I was being nice.
If your mother, the woman who bore you...
She
right?
did, yes.
If she has some free time, she a busy lady?
Oh, she's retired now, but she keeps herself busy, but she can make time for peanut brittle. You know what else she likes to make? Rice Krispie bars. How do you feel about those?
Yeah, delicious.
I'll take
but
some of those.
My ultimate weakness, and I love sweets, donuts, cupcakes, cookies, candy, chomp it up. My ultimate weakness is peanut brittle. If she ever spent the time to make me a bucket of peanut brittle, I'd be indebted to her forever and ever. And from here on out, whoever makes smart-ass sexual jokes about that lady is going to have to deal with me.
I think she would be, she'd be out of her mind happy to make you some peanut brittle.
I eat it, and I can't stop eating it. My mouth begins to bleed.
We only had it like at Christmas.
I know,
Yeah,
it was a
same here.
Same for you. Yeah, it was always a special thing.
Special occasion, and again, I don't hang out at candy stores. Maybe I should.
There's one in St. Paul that we like to go to.
Is that Tremblay's?
No, is it Candyland?
Candyland.
Oh,
yep.
yep.
That place is awesome, too.
Maybe
It
a
is.
52-year-old man shouldn't just be hanging out at candy stores. So to me, it seems like a rarity that a joint carries peanut brittle. But I go crazy for the stuff.
Yeah, you have to go to the real candy stores, the old school ones.
All right, what the hell were we talking about?
We can't. We're talking about the dude that pulled
holding
the.
up the
Oh,
candy.
right.
Yep.
Back to the Burger King guy who tried to pay for his Whopper with meth.
Yeah.
Tears are my lubricant. Jesus said there was a local drive-through that apparently they had to shut down the restaurant because they were selling meth through the drive-through.
Everybody sells meth rocks now, right?
I'm always curious what the code word is. You know, what do you say to get that?
Meth rocks.
Yeah.
I used one of the people that I used to pick weed up from.
2 plain cheeseburgers. Give me some onion rings, some meth rocks, and a Diet Coke. Sorry, Ashley.
No, you're good.
That's the code word. See, who's ever going to suspect that a code word would be so obvious?
Yeah.
Right?
It
Hey,
could
I'm not
be
stupid.
that.
I would never throw that out.
Right.
Somebody that I used to pick up weed from a couple times, I
time to
hit the
grow up.
drive-through, and they would just they knew I was coming, so it was,
You'd
I would
give them a
just-
heads up?
Yeah, so I'd order regular food, and then I'd get to the window, and I'm like, "Hey, drugs, please."
Did you ever pay it forward like you hear those stories out of Starbucks and then you'd buy weed for the family behind you? And just see how long that can go where people are buying weed for the person behind them?
No one is ever going to suspect that the code word is the real word.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
that's very true.
Yeah.
That's how you play it. No one will know a friggin' thing about it.
Back when I was on the force working asset protection for Target,
Yes.
that was one thing they told us when we started. So look for the people just walking a TV out or something. The people who just, you'd think, well, there's no way somebody would have the balls just to grab a 65-inch TV and walk out the front door. But those were the ones that tended to work.
Oh, I suppose.
Because, like if you see somebody sneaking something or whatever, like the average person, somebody who wasn't trained like me, Special Forces, a.k.a. Asset Protection at Target, they'd recognize that.
Yeah, like in the cartoons, the criminal's always tiptoeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you use your regular stride, people are going to assume, well, that there must have been a prior agreement. This is sure, that makes sense.
Act like you're supposed to be there.
Yep.
There was one. We had one guy once.
Some
who,
folks say act like you've been there, but others might say acts like you're supposed to
I
be
liked
there.
your take on
Yeah.
it. It was kind of fun.
You get abbreviated a little bit, Wapple.
We had one guy even. He was brazen enough to. He was pulling. It was a 65-inch TV and a sound bar. And he grabbed the cart kid. He's like, "Hey, can you help me load this into the back of my vehicle?" And that poor kid, he had no idea.
Oh, man.
So he helped him load it right in there.
He's an accomplice.
I thought
Kid belongs in prison.
Oh, can you imagine?
All right, this ain't right. This ain't right. Oh, meth rocks. Yeah, we were just talking about it. They're everywhere, even up there in New Zealand. Friggin' food bank in New Zealand is wondering what the hell happened. They accidentally handed out what they call here in the story possibly lethal packages of meth-laced candies They accidentally handed that out to homeless folks. Christ. And it could possibly have been some sick, demented sabotage job by some bastard who donated the candy. Now, it could have been an accident, but it's also positive isn't the word, possible, that some sick prick laced the candy with meth and then turned it in, to the food bank. Here, give this to someone who needs. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's evil.
That is evil.
Mm-hmm.
The meth rocks disguised as candy was innocent looking enough, wrapped up all cute, given to the food bank by an anonymous donor, is how you say it. And now the homeless folks in the neighborhood are climbing the walls. So far, the cops have recovered a few of the meth candies, but hell, the food bank says they handed out hundreds of them. Everyone's just bracing themselves for the apocalypse.
Yeah, that's terrible.
3 people have already been hospitalized from licking this candy. There was a kid ended up in the hospital. A staffer at the food bank who sampled one of the candies, he went all meth rock mental. Dude, according to folks who know things and tested the candies, okay, they tested the candies once they found out it was crooked and laced with methamphetamines. Each candy has up to 300 times the typical dose of methamphetamine, which can make them deadly.
Yeah,
it sounds like it.
How did nobody die?
Not yet, I guess.
Have you guys, are you curious what certain drugs are like?
Not at all.
Oh, yeah.
I have zero interest in drugs.
I did until this very moment. I was just thinking about it like, I wonder what meth is like, or I wonder how I'd handle something like that. Like, now I'm kind of wondering, like, for all the different drugs. My fear is there's so much addiction in my family, and this is the epilepsy, number one. And secondly, my fear is knowing myself as well as I do, that I would instantly become addicted to whatever, even if it's not addicting, and that's just my thing. All of a sudden, I'm on meth 24 hours a day because I like it.
Addiction runs in your family. You know what runs in my family?
What's that?
Crippling anxiety.
Oh, I got a lot of that too.
Oh my God, everyone's so anxious in my family.
I'm not. I hope I'm going to say something here, and I'm going to be a little vulnerable. And you guys probably haven't noticed, but I'm a bit of an anxious person.
Oh my
What?
God!
Yeah,
Really?
a little bit.
Oh gosh!
You should have braced us a little bit more before he said that, Josh.
Are there a lot of people in your family who have your same traits? Anxious, self-confidence issues, that kind of thing?
A couple for sure.
Yeah.
I told you before, my grandma, she was so anxious she would have panic attacks.
You ever had one?
Oh, those
No.
are bad.
They're the worst.
Well, feels like a heart attack.
Oh, yeah, I've heard I've got a family. I don't want to sell this person out because they're a little embarrassed. They were rushed. They have a very alpha job, right? Just a tough guy job. And they were rushed to a hospital because they thought, oh no, it's the big one.
It's a pretty humbling experience to be in the hospital and the doctor comes in and they're like, so I'm pretty sure this was a panic attack. I'm like, I'm weak.
That's what happened to him. Same thing. But yeah, so when I was a young man, and as I mentioned, I have epilepsy and I would have seizures, and I was misdiagnosed many, many times as they're panic attacks because it ran in my family. There's people, my grandma specifically, it didn't take much. She'd be like, and she was down. Grandma was out.
She would just lay out and be unconscious?
Oh, yeah. One time she was on a stepladder and she was out.
Oh.
A lot of times, like...
Is that when you go through her purse?
No. Only she had was butterscotch and pennies in there. There wasn't really much in there.
Peanut brittle.
Broke-ass grandma.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than a broke-ass grandma.
I think I told you so I'm trying to think when they moved in. So this must have been the 87 World Series run for the Twins. She passed out almost every game. She was a big Twins fan. She'd get so excited. So even little things like that would make her pass out.
That's hilarious.
So I was misdiagnosed many, many times where they thought these seizures were anxiety attacks, and then they find out, no, that's not the case.
I'll wrap this meth candy story up, and then I've got something or another. Okay, here's the good news about the meth-laced candies. Apparently, they taste awful. Absolutely awful. So hopefully most folks would spit them the hell out right away.
Remember how bad it smelled? We had a state trooper out, and they were showing us, hey, this is how we train our police dogs. And he had a suitcase full of different drugs, that the dogs could smell. And he had us smell them, and I don't know how you get anywhere near some of that. I can't remember. Was it heroin that was the worst?
I can't
One of
remember.
them
It was crack.
Oh, was it? I remember one of them being
think
so powerful
Yeah.
and chemically, I couldn't imagine.
Oh, it's a chemical smell? I guess
Yeah.
that makes sense. Oh, gross.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
terrible.
I remember smelling the drugs. I don't remember which was which, but it was tough. It smelled very, very chemically and just odd.
Yeah, I think it was crack.
Here's the deal. Okay, so on our conversation about anxiety, and like I said, there's a few members of my family who just can't cross the room. They're just so anxious about every day, worry about every day. I'm not one of them. I feel very, very lucky. I consider myself, I mean, you guys know me. I certainly can get wound up. Temperamental is maybe a word you could use to describe me now and again. But I do consider myself a pretty relaxed person. I don't worry about much. I take things as they come. There's some members of my family, the anxiety is so off the charts. And Ashley, I think, said it first. It can be compared, an anxiety attack can be compared to a heart attack. And I think everybody knows a few people who have had that moment, right? Oh, God, this is it. Like Josh would say, well, it's just, you're not having a heart attack. It's just an anxiety attack. I got to tell you his story about this dude. God, I haven't seen him in a long time. We used to have so much fun together. But he got married and started pumping out kids like a friggin' jackass. And then, of course, he disappears forever. I'll see him again at his funeral if he goes first. It's a terrible story. Why do guys do this to themselves? But anyway, he used to try to talk me into going deer hunting with him. And I never gave two pumps about deer hunting. No offense to deer hunters, of course. My brother and my dad were big deer hunters. I never got the attraction of standing out in the cold so I can shoot an animal, and then I get to spend the next 3 hours sticking a knife up its ass, and I don't get it. But this old buddy of mine, he used to always try to talk me into going deer hunting with him. And I'd always say, dude, it's just not my thing, And he said, hey, man, did I ever tell you about last year when I went deer hunting? Did I tell you this story yet? And I said, no. And he said, I was taking my son deer hunting for the very first time. I said, oh, no kidding. He said, yeah. My kid had hit 12 years old or whatever age it is when you can. And he said, yeah, I took my son deer hunting for the first time. We went up into the tree stand, and he said, I was so nervous, for my son. I wanted him so badly to get his first deer. And sure as hell, here comes this fat-ass buck over the hillside, right in range of the both of us. And I told my kid, I said, get ready. And he said, so now my son's got his, weapon up on his shoulder, and I'm whispering into his ear, all of what I had taught him prior, don't jerk the trigger, just squeeze it and breathe and all this stuff, right? And he said, and suddenly I got the worst, absolute crushing pain in my chest. And I said, no kidding. He said, yes, I was absolutely breathless. I had this crushing pain in my chest. And he said, then my left arm went completely numb. And suddenly I couldn't feel the left side of my body. And I was kind of fading in and out of, I was seeing stars, and things would go black. And then I would be able to see again. So my vision is coming in and out. Terrible pain in my chest, numbness on the left side of my body, and I can't see. And I said, dude, you were having a heart attack. And he said, what? No. And I said, yes, you were having a... And he goes, what are you talking... I said, that's everything you've just explained to me was a heart attack. And he said, oh, God, I never thought about that.
Does he live under a rock?
I don't understand.
On the flip side, remember, we had a coworker that he's like, I think I'm having a heart attack, right? Like 2 days in a row. We're like, dude, you're overreacting. You're completely fine. And it turned out he was having a heart attack.
Oh, jeez.
It was so subtle because all the normal signs you hear, the left arm, the chest pain, all that kind of stuff, his were way more subtle. But he just, I guess, was tuned into it, and turns out for 2 days he was having a heart attack.
This deer hunting dude wanted to argue with me. And he was a middle-aged guy and not in the greatest shape. And like Ashley said, I said to him, what, did you never take a health class? And he said, I just thought maybe it was this or that. I said, you ought to go to, you had a heart attack. And it's been so long since I've seen him now, I don't know if he ever went to the doctor to get checked out. Like, you came seconds away from dying in the deer stand, and you thought it was because you had a fried egg sandwich that morning or something? What's the matter with you? Oh, Jesus, look at the time. Oh, as if you needed another example. Another example of how sickening and entitled so many of us have become. A woman was arrested at Applebee's restaurant. They got one of those in Indiana. She was arrested at the Applebee's in Indiana after arguing with management about an all-you-can-eat deal.
I don't go to Applebee's enough.
Oh, I know.
There's a few restaurants I don't go to enough, and that's one.
I love that friggin' place.
Heck yeah.
Arby's is another one.
Dude.
Why don't I go to Arby's more?
I love Arby's. Beef and cheddar, curly fries, let's go.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely one of the reasons they're still in business.
Don't forget about the shakes, man.
Yeah, Chewbacca shake.
Their friggin' chocolate shakes, I think, is one of the tastiest items I've ever had in my life. A big, fat-ass chocolate shake from Arby's, but also Applebee's. You're right, I don't go there enough either, and this isn't an advertisement. I have a lot of buddies who just cringe whenever I bring up Applebee's. You want to know why? Because they're foodies.
Oh, they think they're better than that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I could make you a better... Oh, eat me.
Shut up.
Yeah,
No, you
shut up
can't
about
either.
your foodie crap. I'm tired. You guys hate... I hate it when we talk about food on this program because a couple of you are foodies.
Little bit.
But you also go to Arby's, too. It's not like you think you're above chain restaurants.
Oh,
so
never. No one's better than Arby's.
I hate foodies. Okay, so
I think
anyway...
all I eat are at chain restaurants. Very rarely do we go to like a restaurant that wouldn't be considered a chain restaurant.
Or they're one of those types who have one bad experience and then you just disregard that option for life.
Now I want Chili's. And I'm really hoping that if you listen to the show for a while, I'm really hoping Dana's fiance takes him to Chili's.
Oh, that'd be nice. Okay. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I would really like that.
Wouldn't that be great?
They got their new burgers on the menu. They are fire.
I love how excited you are.
Yeah, it's like a little kid talking about like going through like toy catalog.
Yeah, man. They're big mouth burgers.
This gal is 28 years old. She was arrested at Applebee's. Again, she was arguing the all-you-can-eat deal, and she was charged with disorderly conduct. So here's how it played out. This effing gal and her stupid-ass friends were trying to make an argument with Applebee's that if one person at the table ordered the all-you-can-eat deal, it was good for the entire table.
That's not how that works.
I don't think anybody really thinks that in real life. We all know that's not the case.
Yeah.
And that's probably about as far as we need to go with this story because I'll just lose my temper again and go nuts. We are just so stupid now, and it's embarrassing. It's all you can eat, not all they can eat, you dumb bastard.
Wapple, Snot Rocket Jesus wants to know, are you hungry right now?
I actually am.
And more excited than Hair Jesus said, how exactly high is Wapple right now?
Oh, I'm just starving.
I could stand to get something or another to eat, I guess.
I got an apple for you. You want an apple? I got a banana.
You know, years ago, we used to send who Josh and I considered the least valuable member of our program at the time. We'd send them out to go fetch breakfast because we didn't need them. Nothing that they contributed to the program was important enough to keep them around, so we'd always send them to get us breakfast.
No offense.
So, Josh, who would you send these days?
Myself.
Oh, shut up.
I'm out. Who wants an Egg McMuffin?
If we still played by those rules, who would you send to fetch us some egg and muffins?
Me, by
no,
far.
it's not you.
Yeah. Nowadays, we could just order it. Back then, that wasn't the case.
True that.
Hey, Wapple.
Yo.
Would you mind... Well, no, let me finish my sentence now. Would you mind telling Dana and Ashley to make a McDonald's run?
Needs two of us.
I'll get my keys.
I'll make an order.
Well, we're ordering a lot of McDonald's.
Yeah, there's going to be at least 10 Egg McMuffins.
Would you mind asking Dana and Ashley to make a McDonald's run for us?
Oh, Nick just handed me a note. He'd like you to buy one item at a time. Go grab it, drop it off, go grab the next one.
You're back again, huh? What is that, my coffee? And we'll see you in another 20 minutes.
Oh, here's one hash brown.
Oh, we got a great story here. I might have to sit on it till tomorrow. But real quick, a couple of you here are dorks, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, guilty as charged.
You probably... Yeah, it's obvious that three of you are dorks. But tell me, are you this level of dork? Do you like to go to museums now and again so you can learn stuff, which is, of course, so lame?
Yes.
Nope, I'm out.
You know, you're not into it now, Nick?
No!
Oh, so when I was a kid and a teenager, I despised it. I didn't want to learn anything. I thought it was so boring.
It is boring.
I just want to be playing guitar somewhere. I didn't want to, and now I like it.
Learning is still boring and lame.
And I'm the stereotypical parent where I'm trying to get the kids involved. And my older kids actually do like it, but with my youngest, he's kind of dumb. I'll be like, hey, isn't this incredible that it used to be lava or whatever?
Right. The universe was created by... Right.
Can you imagine this? Look at the lush grass or whatever, and he has no interest. And I remember being the same way.
All right,
But now I do think it's kind of cool. Like, you don't like going to the science museum?
Absolutely not. I would rather go to prison
The science museum
than the
is
science
awesome.
museum.
Yeah, I do like the science museum,
I go there alone. I love it.
I would rather spend the weekend in jail than go to a museum.
Ashley, there's a difference between a woman going alone to the science museum and a single guy going to the science museum by themselves.
That's true. Yep.
A guy's going to be looked at a little differently.
You've never gone to the science museum to pick up chicks? You're missing out, man.
Are any of them adults?
Some moms.
Maybe I should do it today.
Oh, yeah, moms. So sure, you're right. No.
Here's something for you now. A museum in Kentucky has a new exhibit dedicated to a historical event. In Kentucky, they consider this a historical event. The so-called Kentucky Meat Shower. And I'll dump a meat shower on you. By God, I will. The Kentucky Meat Shower. That's the sex move I'm going to put on the friggin' wife.
The Kentucky meat shower?
Yep.
That doesn't sound pleasant.
Oh, it's pleasant.
There's a lot going on there.
It's friggin' pleasant.
Ashley, it kind of bothers me that you're having prejudgment ideas of what the Kentucky meat shower would be like without experiencing it. Wop will show her.
So you kind of
And
go
then-
like this,
and then show Dana.
move a little bit over like this,
And then save some for me.
You guys can, I'll give you a chance to watch me give the friggin' wife the Kentucky meat shower. Because I'll send you some links. What movie, Mike and Dave need wedding dates? I'll try and tell you about this deal here, the Kentucky meat shower. First off, the boring museum is called the This and That Museum. Who cares? The new exhibit tells folks the story where in March of 1876, a lady called Rebecca Crouch was outside with her grandson in the middle of nowheres in Kentucky, and chunks of red meat rained down from the sky.
What? All right, I'm interested.
A preserved piece of what is believed to be the meat that fell from the sky on that day has been preserved for hundreds of years. It's now been turned over to the museum for you nerds to look at.
You don't think that's kind of interesting?
It is reading it, but I don't need to go look at oh, God, there's the chunk of meat. No,
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Right, the story's interesting enough.
Yeah, the story.
I don't need to drive and go pay for parking so I can stare at that piece of meat in a glass case. No, I don't need to do any of that.
So Kentucky meat shower is on Urban Dictionary. Would you guys like to hear what it is?
All right, is it safe enough where we're not going to have to take a week of unpaid vacation?
I think we're good here.
Okay, that makes me nervous. No, let's.
Well, I'm going to look it up real quick.
Let's let Josh make the final call. Aren't you supposed to be at McDonald's right now getting us some breakfast?
Let's see.
Could you imagine that?
I spelled
smell?
dictionary in an unfortunate way.
Oh, okay, we're off to a great start.
Sausage McMuffin with egg.
Could you imagine the smell if you opened up that lid on that preserved meat.
Oh, dude, that's rank.
I don't know, Wapple. Maybe at this point, I mean, after hundreds of years, would it still have the capability to be funky?
I think it would be worse. Don't you think it'd be like fermenting almost?
I don't know how that stuff works. Maybe I'd learn something if I went to the Science Museum once in a while.
Yeah, maybe go to a fermentation museum.
I want to go to the Fermentation Museum.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go there with a cooler full of beer.
Men in all caps.
Okay, the Kentucky meat shower.
Okay, I don't know which one you're looking at, but there's, on mine, the first one is relatively okay, but the second and third, my God.
Oh, God, I didn't scroll down past the first one.
Jeez.
Do we dare even bring it up on the radio?
The first one isn't that bad, but yeah, you're right, Josh. The other two are something.
It gets aggressive.
Oh.
Do we dare?
So essentially, I will summarize the cleanest of the three, but you really got to read the second one, especially.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so basically, this one says the Kentucky meat shower. It's a sexual encounter, of course, where you have chicken grease poured all over your naked body, and then a bunch of wieners are rubbed on you. That's the Kentucky meat shower.
Well, then I'm going to need some company if I'm going to pull that off on the friggin' wife.
The second one, woo-wee.
I'm going to need to have the old softball team over or something.
The second one is not, well, no, I'm not even going to do that.
With your cousin.
Yeah, Google that one if you're on Urban Dictionary.
It has something to do with your cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the next couple have something to do with cousins, but...
You had a hot cousin that you kind of wanted to fold, right, John?
Yeah, second cousin, I think is what you call it. My dad's cousin, would that be my second cousin?
I don't know how that works.
Cousin once removed, I'm not sure. She was a few years older than me, and I remember we met at a family reunion. That's how a lot of the romance starts, right?
Uh-huh.
And I thought, my goodness, who is that specimen? And then I found out I was related to her, and it was kind of a bummer.
Do you care enough for me to give you a couple of the theories on the 1876 Kentucky meat shower?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
They tested the preserved meat, and those tests were inconclusive as to what the hell it was that was falling from the sky. So one theory says this here. There's a weather pattern, is how you say it. There is a weather pattern that can happen down there in Kentucky where the winds will suck up fish and frogs. It's called an upspout, and then they spray the fish and frogs out the sky.
Yeah, it's almost like a tornado.
You're almost like a tornado of nonsense.
Cool.
Another theory is vulture vomit.
Oh.
Vultures eat up little critters and then as they're flying overhead, and it falls onto your lower lip.
That is a lot of vultures.
Yeah.
And
To have a meat shower of it?
Those are the only two theories. You got to remember it's Kentucky. That's about the max amount of thinking that those people are capable of.
And it took almost 100 years to come up with, or over 100 years. You Betcha Jesus said, I'm listening from Kentucky, and he wants to find one of those meat showers. If you find one, let us know.
Send pictures.
Do what you got to do.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Specific to the comments that were made by Tua, I just want to say, look, I'm genuinely happy for the success that Tua's had, and I really wish him nothing but the best. And player relationships are very important to me. I think that's kind of the foundation of coaching. I got into coaching because I was impacted as a young guy by my high school coaches, my college coaches, going all the way to Pop Warner. I got into coaching because I want to make that same kind of impact, positive impact, pour it into young people, help them become, as KO says all the time, the best versions of themselves.
That's the Vikings defensive coordinator, Brian Flores. If, in fact, there's anybody out there who really cares about this piss and match between he and the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, that Tua kid, he's saying this and that, and Tua said he's a terrible person. I don't know.
It's getting a lot of press, that's for sure.
Yeah, Do they play the Dolphins this year? Maybe that Tua guy will just fire a spiral right into his bag as the dude's on the side. You know what I mean? Let's take it up a notch. If this is going to become interesting to me, Josh, they got to take it up a notch. Someone that's going to have to take a swing at somebody.
Would you say like a higher level? Is that what you're looking for?
To a higher level.
To a higher level.
A minute ago we were talking about museums. Josh said he takes an interest in such things.
As an adult, never did as a kid.
Right. I said, I don't care how old I get. I'd rather go to jail than spend any time at a museum. Here's a text message from Bang Bang Jesus. He said, handcuff me face down in a shallow pond over taking me to an effing museum.
Jeez.
All right, I was a rude awakening this morning when I turned on my computer and found out that the Twins lost by a couple of runs last night in San Diego. I had to hit the fart sack, and before I turned the television off, they were up by a couple of runs. Now, that didn't lead me to believe that the game was over, but I certainly had high hopes. In the end, the eighth inning blew up on the Twins, and they lost by 2. They got one more in San Diego, 5:40 tonight. We'll talk all about that with Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. We got to take a break. Josh's News is coming up.
Did you know that Standard Heating opened its doors over 90 years ago? That's right. Tony Ferreira opened the doors in 1930. Now ran by his granddaughter, Claire Ferreira. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning today and experience the customer service and care that holds true today.
It is savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals that can save you thousands. Visit standardheating.com for all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
We're all juggling life, a career, and trying to build a little bit of wealth. The Brown Ambition podcast with host Mandy and Tiffany the Budgetnista can help.
Let's talk about the financials behind locks. It can be quite pricey, but as your hair locks, it needs way less product. When I had my fro, it was way more costly as it relates to products because my fro was thirsty.
No, it's very expensive. Yeah.
Yes, I need the whole bottle. So
What, a dime-sized portion of what?
Girl, the laughter.
Brown Ambition.
Wherever you listen.
Half-assed Morning Show. 93X.
I kind of felt like I was having a panic attack with what had gone on because it's just so cruel.
I feel like he should be charged for everything that he's done.
Well, any good person hearing these next couple of stories is going to be a little ticked off, but I'm especially concerned about how Ashley is going to react.
Let me guess, there was a dog involved.
Nope.
Boy, if it's not a dog, what else does she care about? Other dogs.
It's alpacas, Wobble.
It's not alpacas, it's not dogs, it's cats. You were an animal lover. How do you feel about cats specifically, Ashley?
I used to not like them, but I love them because I have one now, and she's a sweetheart.
You're a sweetheart. A Blaine man is facing animal cruelty charges for poisoning his tenant's cats because he didn't want them on the property. Police got a call about July 27th from a tenant who suspected his landlord was behind his cats falling ill. The tenant, a veteran, was already working with the VA to have the cats spayed, neutered, and rehomed. Even though the landlord knew the cats were eventually going to go to a shelter, he wasn't happy the tenant was caring for them, and he wanted it to stop. A property manager told police the landlord even asked him to poison the cats by putting antifreeze in their food, but he refused. So the landlord allegedly decided to handle it himself.
I'm irrationally afraid of that happening, like a neighbor throwing a dog treat over the fence and they laced it with poison because they don't like my dogs or something.
Are your dogs like unlikable, or why would you think something like that?
Do they bark all the time?
No, I have a neighbor that doesn't like me or my boyfriend, so I'm afraid they're gonna get revenge on the dog.
Well, we have heard stories before about. We have heard stories of sick people who will poison or kill a dog in that fashion. Yeah. Okay, that's an irrational fear of yours. I get it. I got to know more about why does your neighbor hate you and your boyfriend?
Yeah.
That's way more interesting than discussing fears of our dog's deaths.
I guess so. It does have to do with my dogs in a way. She doesn't like when they're over. Like we share a tiny sliver of the backyard. Like it's barely noticeable, and they just like go over there and chill in that area. And her dog barks at them, and she doesn't like it, so she yells at our dogs and like kicked the fence a couple times, told them to go the F home, even though they are home. Things like that. So her and my boyfriend got in a tizzy about it. Some words were said. Some cops were called.
Oh my God!
The cops were called?
Yeah, she definitely.
Can't you behave yourself?
No,
I mean, can't you just?
Dude, I've never seen someone like freak out in that fashion. It surprised me. It's because I said like, hey, kick our fence again, and we're gonna call the cops. Like kick the fence again, and we're gonna call the cops. So I think she just wanted to be the first person to call the cops. The cop was like, why am I here? Like this, I shouldn't even be here. This is a community service officer's ordeal.
Isn't there
this lady calls all the
Isn't there
time.
anywhere you can go where you don't start trouble?
No.
I was
nowhere.
going to say it, and that's at this house now that you're at.
Yeah, it's fun.
And how long have you been at this new house?
Yeah.
A year.
Okay, it's longer than I thought. How long did it take her to hate you?
Almost a year. This just happened like last month.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
I know whose side I'm on.
A Minneapolis family is hoping for the best after their 20-year-old cat was taken from in front of their home shortly before 5:45 p.m. Friday.
Just shocked. She's a 20-year-old cat, just obsessing over it, and I don't know that obsession will ever stop until we find her.
Security footage shows an SUV stop in front of their home before a passenger gets out and takes the family's cat, Silverton. Then they filed a police report with Minneapolis police.
Someone out there knows something. So I'm just pretty much begging the public at this point. Honestly, we just want her returned. No questions asked.
I mean, what the hell's the matter with you? You just jump out of a car and just grab somebody's cat? It was out in the yard?
They were hoping it was out in front of the house, so they didn't.
In front of the house.
I don't know if it's specifically the yard or what, but
why would you do that to somebody?
Well, they're hoping it was somebody thought it was a stray.
Oh,
but they are wondering if that's the case, why it hasn't shown up any place that you would bring a stray. Then this one's even more disturbing than our first story. A 27-year-old Ohio woman killed a neighbor's cat and ate it. 27-year-old Alexis Farrell killed the cat outside a public housing complex in Canton, where she lives. When cops got there late Friday evening, they found her squatting next to the dead feline. She had blood on her hands and feet and even fur on her lips. Farrell, a fitting last name for this nutcase, was arrested on multiple felony and misdemeanor charges. Gross!
It's really gross and disturbing. And we got to go ahead and assume this gal's just blasted on bathtub drugs, right?
I would think so. Or she had in the past and her brain's so fried, this is where she's ended up.
Son of a bitch.
In a stunning display of how not to handle losing at pull tabs, two men are now facing charges after they decided shooting and robbing someone was the best way to deal with a little gambling envy. It started innocently enough. The victim hit up a Minneapolis bar with friends last Tuesday, trying his luck with some pull tabs. Things were going fine until two guys asked which box he was playing from and if he was winning. When the victim didn't tell him, the two clearly well-adjusted adults got upset. Fast forward a few minutes and the victim won $1,000. And then you got to cue the tantrum here. After the poor guy leaves the bar to meet up with his friend at a park, an SUV pulled up. Two disgruntled pull tab losers jumped out and demanded, "Give me the bag," before promptly shooting the man 8 times while trying to steal it. Luckily, an off-duty paramedic was nearby and rushed to help, finding the victim riddled with bullet wounds.
God, help us all.
4 in the left leg, 2 in the right leg, 2 in the stomach. Despite his injuries, the paramedics got him to the hospital in time.
Jeez.
Over $1,000.
Yeah, one of my broskies pulled a big fat winning ticket at a squirrely, that's the word I'll give it, a squirrely bar. And, he was so caught up in the moment. He was, happily counting out the money, after it was handed to him. 100, 200. Until even the pull tab attendant kind of looked at him as if to say, dude, if I was you, I'd get the hell out of here right now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
This is not the type of place where you want to be happily skipping back to the bar with your big fat wad of cash. And my bro did. He said he got the hell out of there.
Pull tab players can be next level crazy too.
Definitely.
They take that stuff very seriously. Even if they're playing a box, you just got there, and if you try to play in their box, oh no, that's not going to go well. You're going to get stabbed by an old lady.
I've seen that in bingo.
Yeah, bingo, big time.
Oh, man, for the old ladies especially, they're staring daggers.
I don't even bother with the pull tabs thing. Not even a little bit.
No, me neither.
Cardboard crack, that's what they call that?
Oh, and they're so right. It's so addictive.
A lot of my friends are. It's the entire time that they're sitting at the bar, they're playing. They just absolutely are hooked on it. I don't know the etiquette. So I could see myself getting caught up in some kind of pissing match if I did something that's perceived to be wrong in the pull tabbers community.
I didn't realize that people get upset if you start playing their box if they've been there for a while. Yeah. That's good to know. It's good to know. I like to know some of that etiquette because I don't know. I mean, I remember the two of us found out at blackjack, you better be careful how you're playing. Otherwise, people are going to get pissed. I didn't know enough about it to realize that. Nick got yelled at by a 90-year-old lady.
Yeah.
Oh, you took her card.
I don't know. It was a long time ago, and I was wildly intoxicated. But here's the good news. I don't care. I don't care what you consider to be good or bad blackjack etiquette. If I sit down and play, I'm going to play it the way I want to play.
In a plot twist which left a sour taste in everyone's mouth, a pair of business-minded siblings in Chesapeake, Virginia had their lemonade dreams squeezed dry when their money jar was stolen by a grown man.
I just wanted to find out who would do that because they're just innocent kids out here, having a lemonade stand.
I don't think it's really even about the money. Just like doing it and being out here and seeing people. And we don't want that stolen away from them. We want the fun, the innocence to remain. That's probably the worst part is, the stolen innocence involved.
A week ago today, 11:50 a.m., 10-year-old Rebecca was getting ready to serve her finest lemonade. Surveillance video from the family's home then shows a sedan slowly approaching the two kids. The man stepped out of the car, said Rebecca. With the kind of customer service that'll get you a 5-star Yelp review, she poured him a drink. But as soon as her back was turned, the man grabbed their money jar.
So it was like a hot summer day, so I thought it would be nice for people to have lemonade. We already got $40. It was seeming pretty good. And then the guy came. He acted really nice. He was just saying, nice, y'all, you're doing a lemonade stand. And then he was getting pretty close, but my back was turned, so I didn't really realize.
Despite the setback, Rebecca and her brother aren't letting it stop them. They're planning another lemonade stand on Saturday, just in case the thief is listening and wants to rip off children once again.
It's a hell of a take, $40.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot more expensive than it used to be. I stopped at a lemonade stand a couple weeks back, and I thought, my God, I think it was like $3 for a glass of that stuff.
You walk up with 2 quarters?
Dude. Yeah, I just went to one and it was 50 cents.
That's how it used to be, or less. Actually, I think when we did it was we charged a quarter maybe. Or maybe it's even 25 cents for 2. I can't remember.
25 cents.
You got ripped off.
The Colorado Mills.
You really encountered a lemonade stand where kids were asking for $3?
$3.
That's insane. Yeah. And how big was the cup? Like the little tiny Dixie cup?
No, it's maybe double the size of a Dixie cup. The Colorado Mills Mall in Lakewood was evacuated Saturday after what turned out to be a prank involving milk jugs that was mistaken for gunfire. Police rushed to the mall about 5:40 p.m. after getting reports of shots fired in the food court. The mall was evacuated and officers searched for shooting victims but didn't find any. Turned out no shots had been fired at all. Instead, a group of kids were behind the whole thing.
Police received calls of shots fired Saturday night and cleared the mall, but the investigation revealed a group of kids were trying to prank a friend by pouring a jug of milk on their head. The jug slipped and made a very loud noise when it hit the ground.
The loud noise made people think there was gunfire. Police caught up with 2 of the boys and cited them for causing a public disturbance.
Well, what the hell?
38 flights were canceled at an airport in Japan Saturday after a pair of scissors went missing. Japanese media reported stores at the airport are supposed to keep scissors locked up. When staff need them, they have to check them out, do their cutting, and then return them promptly. But last Saturday, a retailer couldn't find their pair of scissors, and that's when the trouble started. A long search kicked off, and security checks for passengers were put on hold for at least 2 hours. Things quickly spiraled into chaos as lines grew. Passengers couldn't get through, and airport staff rushed to figure out if the scissors had been taken by someone with bad intentions. Over 200 flights were delayed, 36 canceled. Eventually, the scissors were found, still in the store where they'd originally gone missing.
Oh, nuts.
Rats. The series premiere of Wyatt Earp and the Cowboy War makes its way to Netflix today.
How many different versions of the Wyatt Earp story do we need?
I guess more. This one's a docudrama narrated by the great Ed Harris and streaming now on Apple TV Plus, the first season finale of Time Bandits.
I mean, Hollywood movie makers and whatnot, they're aware of Tombstone, right? So what's the point of telling another story about Wyatt Earp when there's already Tombstone out there?
That's a great point, but I'm in.
It's a perfect rendition of his story. Stop it with this.
I'll probably watch this one.
Oh, I definitely will.
I like that.
But you know
I'm
what's going to
such a
happen?
nerd.
You're going to see the guy that plays Doc Holliday and say, that's not Val Kilmer, and you're going to change the channel.
Nah, I'll still probably watch it.
I'm not watching anything on Wyatt Earp or Doc Holliday unless it's, what did I just say his name was?
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, and what's the other guy's
Kurt
name?
Russell.
Kurt Russell. That's it.
System of a Down frontman Serge Tankian, in 57 today. Super Bowl shuffle singer Jim McMahon, 65.
Oh, God.
And I want to say what up to my new friend Fred, who I had the great pleasure of meeting last night. We had a fun conversation, and that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
Got a fat ass and a bad attitude.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Throw far in the air to left. Margot will run out of room, and it's gone! A home run! And the Padres are back in front 6-5.
Dick move is what that was. A dick move. Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Randy Shaver and Effin Brad Ryder. You can only find them here on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. What's up, brothers?
Not much.
Told Waffle I'm a little depressed because I got to start going back to work.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. When do you start?
Well, I'm back in the office right now, but classes start next week.
Yeah, so when did that start happening? Last year's the first year for my son that it was before Labor Day.
It's not right.
Well, most colleges do start before Labor Day. I think the U of M is probably about the only one of the only ones that don't start before Labor Day now.
Randy, what do you got on your schedule?
You talking about when?
Right.
Like the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's great. That's
Brad,
the way to do it.
I told Waffle this, though. You know, some people say, hey, it's state fair time, and some people say, hey, it's back to school time. Not around here. You know what time of year it is here? It's leaf blower time season.
Leaf blower! Leaf blower!
I've missed him.
Brad Ryder, remind our listening audience what it is. Remind them what it is you do for a living and what you're talking about.
I am the department chair for the sports management and kinesiology department at University of Northwestern in St. Paul.
Jesus,
so
can you put that in terms that people might understand?
I teach all the sport management classes here at the school, and so that's what I've been like: sports marketing, sports PR, sports ethics. So I've been doing that ever since I left the Wolves. My gosh. So almost 6 years ago now.
And school is back in.
Long? And I've been on regularly with you guys for that long. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I did come on with you periodically when I was with the Wolves, but that's been 6 years since we started this too.
It's been a friggin' poke. So school is back in very shortly. You're back to work. Wow, you sounded really depressed when you told us that.
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for you.
No, you don't.
You don't sound excited about it. Yes, I do.
Do you?
Yeah. You don't sound excited about it.
No.
Wasn't there something else you can do for a living that would make you happy?
Well, no, this is a pretty good gig. I'm not complaining. This is a pretty good gig. I get my summers off. I get breaks during the year. I'm fine.
Stop belly aching.
I remember
Fine.
I remember the first when I was an adult when I found this out. You always think like teachers, they're miserable that they're not in school. They love nothing more than teaching, and then you find out that they're looking forward to it less than the kids are. They're more miserable having to go back.
Yeah, you know what? You get summers off. Maybe I don't want to hear you bitch. Now, maybe I don't feel bad for you. You get summers off.
One of the other professors in my department, we have an inside joke. We say, teaching would be a great gig without the students. Took you a while, but you got it.
Well, I mean, so you're unhappy.
No, I'm not unhappy. I'm kind of making fun of it. I'm not unhappy.
Why don't you go back and work for one of the local ball clubs?
No.
Well,
no.
Those who can't do, teach.
Right. I guess I can't do anymore.
I got a few text messages coming in saying those who can't do, teach.
No.
Well, Brad, I mean, you better dial in. Those kids need you.
I'm actually very happy. Our department, I'm not trying to put in a infomercial or market my program, but my program has really grown in the last 4 or 5 years, so I'm very thankful for that. We had about 70-some kids in my program when I got here, and we got 156 now.
Oh, man, nice.
Randy Shaver, what do you think? The sumbitch has summers off.
Yeah.
How bad can we feel for the guy?
Zero.
Zero.
I mean, good for you. We're happy for you, but enjoy work.
Okay, Mr. Retired, I'll enjoy work.
Well, I think that when you're retired, you probably like it when other people have to work because it makes your retirement that much better.
Yes.
It's a little more special.
There's something special right now about the state fair.
Right.
Because I don't have to go to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy Shaver, he's got life nailed now.
I told you, I'll show up Friday morning with those guys if you do.
Well, why don't you just either way? It'd be nice to have you out there.
Well, I might.
Randy Shaver's not going to come see us on
I'm
Friday.
not
Brad,
coming
you're
out
more than
there.
welcome to come out.
What's happening?
What's that, Randy? You were drumming on your microphone.
I said I am not coming out to the
No,
state
we know
fair.
that.
Yeah.
Brad, you
We
don't
wouldn't
need
ask
Randy.
you to do
You just come on out. Come on out.
Oh.
10 to noon on Friday. We'll be here.
I
It might be raining cats and dogs. There'll be nobody there. It'll be beautiful.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Oh, heck yeah. That's the best time to go.
I want it to rain and nobody shows up.
That's the first thing Nick said when he walked in the studio today. It might rain on Friday. Let's hope it does so nobody makes it out.
I love that. No lines for anything. Yes.
But if you
That's
do, buy
kind of
something.
like this. It's kind of like the same concept as Brad was talking about teaching. The state fair is great without the people.
Exactly.
I keep forgetting I'm going Saturday night, too, so I don't know if I want to go 2 days in a row.
Oh, why not? That'd be fun.
You don't teach gym, do you? What's your name again? Brad Ryder? You don't
No.
teach gym?
No.
I got a buddy who's a science teacher. Oh, he hates the gym teachers.
Why?
Because all they do, just roll a ball out. That's all you do. You just roll it out.
Yeah, I will say one of the best parts about doing what I do now, I will say this after doing it for about 5 years, is I do get to stay in touch with a lot of people in the sports community, not only here but around the country, and that to me has been fun. You know, that I haven't really lost touch of people, and I've been able to do that and have guest speakers come in and do those sorts of things.
So my bro, and that's nice, Brad Ryder.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My bro, the science teacher, he doesn't think that the gym teachers put in the same amount of work as he does. So I think there's kind of a rivalry there between what my bro would consider real teaching and gym teaching. Kind of like I think a lot of radio personalities, myself included, we don't think that television people ever put in a real day's work.
Oh.
I think there's that rivalry, too. Wouldn't you say, Josh?
I don't think
You got any cue cards in front of you?
And I don't know what to say because nobody's handed my new cue card.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Randy Shaver.
I would say there was a rivalry back in the day between newspaper people and
Oh,
TV
for sure.
people.
Newspaper people and TV.
Absolutely.
What would just like the people think maybe they were like on a higher level?
Well, especially covering sports, Randy, I can attest to that and working in PR and sports. There was a little rivalry between newspaper people and TV people. The newspaper people used to hate the TV people.
That's right.
Because they would come in, they would view those people as coming in and not really having a lot of journalistic ability. I mean, I'm just saying journalistic ability, those sorts of things.
It's not
And
real
the-
You come in, you shoot a 30-second
Right.
video, you leave, as opposed to following the team all over the country.
The TV people would view the newspaper people as, oh, you think you're so special because you're around the team every day and you know all this, you know people a little bit better than we do.
Do newspaper people have, what's the term again? There's a term for it. An inferiority complex.
Well, that's what the TV people might say because people, they're not as recognizable.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the take I've gotten. Newspaper people are kind of temperamental. They lash out at television, radio people because they have an inferiority complex. They're not on a television screen every night. They're not heard.
Maybe not a household name.
Not a
like
household
person
name.
would be.
Well, let me throw this at Randy Shaver now.
Oh, so along those lines, Randy, I wanted to tell you, you were called a legend last night.
I was called a what?
A legend in the community.
Now that's silly.
That's very silly.
I mean, it's a very trendy word now. We discussed this, haven't we? Everything is legend. Right? Am I right, young people? Legend has become a loose term.
Yep.
Yes. So, give me the context of this conversation.
Somebody we were talking about just like local media, and I had mentioned Randy Shaver, and he's like, oh, he's a legend. Love that guy. So it was a very nice compliment you received.
Huh.
All right. So it was they're just falling into like saying sick or epic.
I don't. He seemed like
right,
he
Randy
legitimately
Shaver?
felt that way.
Don't be calling.
I mean, come on. That's Dave Moore was a legend.
Oh, I love Dave Moore.
That's a legend. Not me.
Now, Randy Shaver, you've been married for how long now? 40 years?
Pretty close. Getting closer to 40. Yeah.
Okay, so your interest in appealing to women died decades ago.
Oh gosh, yeah.
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 But I had to throw this at you
reason.
anyway. Some group of internet schmucks did some type of survey on the least attractive hobbies for men, according to women. So
the least attractive hobbies for men, according to women.
Right.
Okay.
This is what ladies say. If their man has this hobby, it's stupid, it's dorky, it's not attractive at all. And I had to throw this your way because the fifth...
This is kind of like a Family Feud question, right? Survey.
Yeah, I suppose.
Very much so,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I suppose so. And you're probably watching that every day now that you don't got to do dick.
Right.
I just wanted Randy Shaver to know that the fifth least attractive hobby for men, according to women, the fifth least appealing, gambling.
Well, sure.
And number one least appealing hobby for men, according to women, playing video games.
Of course.
Not that you
why
care.
are you saying that to me? Why
Because you're a degenerate gambler and you like to finger bang video game controllers all day long.
I am not a degenerate gambler. It's not true.
What were 2 through 4?
We learned this morning, also not a legend.
What did Brad say?
I said, what were 2 through 4?
Oh, yeah,
Number
really.
2 was collecting figurines.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's
collecting
probably
figurines.
That means Warcraft is a real nerd.
Oh yeah, Chris Chloe.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Right.
definitely.
Oh yeah.
Going
I
back
wonder.
to Chris
They say
Chloe.
figurines, but I wonder if it's like any collection. I wonder if you could throw bobbleheads in there.
Oh yeah, you could throw anything.
Yeah.
If that would be included in what they meant.
Number
Baseball
3.
cards.
This cracks me up. The third least appealing hobby for a man, according to women, is if the dude knows how to do a few magic tricks.
Oh my God! Come on, I think that's great.
That should be number 1. That should be some dork doing a sleight of hand trick.
You guys want to
Who's
see me
doing
do
that
some
5
magic?
days a week?
I mean, don't
How
get me.
often do you come across that too? Just some random dude.
Never.
Want to see a magic trick?
I do remember my grandpa. You could pull a lot of quarters out of our ears back in the day, and we thought that was pretty special.
Then there's things like building model trains, taxidermy, comic book collecting, bird watching. I still think some boyfriend or husband who tortures the family with his magic act on holidays or whatever, that should be number 1. I'd rather look at your collection of Game of Thrones figurines than have you come out in a tuxedo, and you got a hat and some cards and a friggin' wand. I'd be throwing my feces at you within 30 seconds. And don't get me wrong, I've seen some cool card tricks and whatnot. I don't know.
I've gone to a couple magic shows that were pretty cool, but it's these are pros, not just your average guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not a gamer by any stretch at all. I can't even tell you the last time I played a video game. But I think gamers need a little more respect than to be number 1 on this list for the least attractive hobby for a dude.
I'm actually surprised. I mean, with how prolific video games are now, men and women are playing them.
Yeah.
I think the thing about it though is it's so time consuming. I think that's probably why women are like, if you're a gamer, you've got no time for anything else.
Yeah, if you come home from work and you go and sit down to play video games right away instead of saying hi to your wife or whatever, that's not very attractive.
Yeah, and there's people that take entire weeks off of work when a new video game comes out.
So listening to that list, a texter just said, were you just reading off Dana's Twitter profile? Hi, I'm Dana, good at magic, collect figurines.
Here's a classic country Jesus who texted in to say, taxidermy? What the hell? That's pretty sweet.
It's hard to find a good taxidermist.
It is.
That's right.
Oh, I got a guy for you, Brad.
Was anyone
Chuck
else?
Testa? Anybody remember Chuck Testa?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Medical device Jesus said, my grandpa was actually using a trick called sleight of hand. He wasn't actually extracting coins from your ears. Oh, that's really disappointing to hear.
Well,
He wasn't there. He doesn't know.
Sorry for the spoiler, he says.
At about 10:30 last night, I watched the Twins' Christian Vasquez drive in a couple of runs in the top of the 8th inning to break a 3-3 tie between the Twins and San Diego Padres, and that's when I got down to my drawers and I hit the sack. I had hopes that the boys could wrap her up from there and get the win, but it didn't happen. You heard the audio. Some jerkbag by the name of Jerickson Profar hit a 3-run dong for the Padres in the bottom of the 8th inning. And the Padres were the ones who got the win by a final of 7-5. Son of a bitch.
Yep. And Cleveland won in extra innings over the Yankees, so the Twins dropped to 3.5 back. But still very much, there's still a long way to go here. So
a long way to go, he says. There's no
and San Diego's a good baseball team.
Yeah.
They're having a really good year. And they've done it without Tatis for basically the entire season. He's been out for quite a while. They make the deal for a rise. He's, the top of their lineup and doing well. They bring David Peralta out of mothballs to play the outfield for him. They've kind of pieced together a lot of stuff. And Musgrove's been hurt for most of the year. So San Diego is really kind of patchworked a season together. Martin Perez starts for him last night.
He's older than the Hills.
And they traded for Tanner Scott. They have really pieced together, a pretty good season with a lineup. And they got, in all honesty, Nick, they got 2 all-star seasons out of guys that some people thought that's not, Jerickson Profar has been having an all-star season. And nobody saw that coming. And number 2, this Jackson Merrill has been tremendous in center field for them.
They call him Jackson Barrels.
Yeah. He's the reason why they don't miss Tatis as much in the middle of that lineup.
Give me a reminder on why this Tatis is missing time. Was it a performance-enhancing drug thing?
No. He's been hurt. I don't know if it's shoulder or leg. I have no idea.
Was he not the dude years ago who tested positive for something and he claimed it was from getting a haircut or something? Or am I making that up?
I don't recall.
So I haven't watched a ton of the Twins this year because of that Comcast thing, but the games that I have watched, and Trevor Plouffe is the analyst, I just have to say I enjoy listening to him a lot because he's honest. And again, last night he was very, very honest about some stuff late in the game. Pitch selection by the Twins relievers, very questionable. There was this one at bat.
Thanks a lot, Rocco.
Well, no, whoever the reliever was, the left-handed reliever the Twins brought in when they got up. Yeah, when they got up 5-3,
Yep.
He goes up 0-2 with a slider outside and then a changeup off the corner, and then he grooves a fastball on 0-2, and the guy drills it in the gap, and right away, Plouffe, openly is questioning it on the air, and a lot of analysts, especially home team analysts, won't do that. And he did it again a couple of batters later, where he would question a little bit the pitch selection by the relievers, and I think that's gotten them in trouble. It got them in trouble in Kansas City on Sunday a little bit too, where you're sitting there watching this, thinking, why are you throwing anything remotely close to a strike when the guy just swung at 2 pitches out of the strike zone?
Yeah, more often than not on 0-2, you see him waste one. I don't get that myself.
Well, I'll say this about Plouffe. I agree with you, Brad. He's very good, and he is honest. It's easy to be honest when you're not a full-time guy that's doing the games.
Point. He's not doing it 162 games. They only bring him in for about a handful of games.
Well, they bring him in on the West Coast. I mean, he does the West Coast stuff. Yep. So, yeah.
They go again tonight, 5:30 on Bally Sports North. Simeon Wood Richardson going to pitch for the boys against a kid by the name of Matt Waldron. The Twins have now lost 3 in a row. It's been tough.
Yeah.
Been a little bit tough here. Oh, wow. Taxidermy Jesus has texted the show. He's got something or another to say about taxidermy making the list of hobbies for men that women do not find appealing at all. Yes. He said, "Oh, come on, women. I've been able to make a great career out of taxidermy. Raised 3 girls. He's a 3-time world champion."
Whoa.
Incredible.
And he said, "Josh, I just got Chuck Testa's autograph 2 weeks ago."
Oh, did he really? That's awesome.
Chuck Testa.
I gotta see if I can find that commercial, the Chuck Testa commercial. Nope, Chuck Testa.
My dad had a buddy who hung every critter and creature that he ever killed on his wall. And the first time you see that when you're 2, that freaks you out a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that being weird.
And then I grew to really like it, but when I was a little kid, I'd walk into the dude's, what did he call it, like his den,
Yep.
and it was just horrific.
That's so cool.
My father-in-law is that way.
You probably thought this deer was alive.
Oh.
And this coyote was alive. And this pheasant was alive. Nope, they're not. They're dead. They've been taxidermized by Chuck Testa. Ojai Valley Taxidermy. I specialize in the most like dead animals anywhere. Period.
Look at that antelope driving a car.
Nope, it's just Chuck Testa.
Oh no, there's a bear in my bed.
Nope, Chuck Testa.
Hold on a second. There's a leopard feeding on an impala out on my deck.
Nope, it's just Chuck Testa with another realistic mount. Call Chuck Testa for the most lifelike dead animals around, period.
Did that rhino just order a drink?
Nope.
Chuck Testa does not taxidermize pets.
I should have called him when I needed my deer hood.
Chuck Testa? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
You
know
can't
he
afford
existed.
Chuck Testa.
Dude, honestly, I could barely afford anybody. That stuff is insanely
I'm
expensive.
sure it
Oh
is.
my gosh.
All right. Where else are we going with this, everybody? Oh, Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. Well, first off, someone straighten me out. Did the Yankees play a game in Williamsport?
Yes.
Okay.
Sunday night.
Sunday
against
night.
Tigers.
All right. Where do they have a real ballpark?
They have them. Well, Williamsport has a minor league team, and I think they just used the minor league ballpark for that one game.
Okay, I missed that. And like I said the other day, I haven't been following the Little League World Series at all. Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. He was accused by a coach of one of the Little League teams. Judge was accused of snubbing his team and not coming out and hanging out with the kids.
Who cares?
This was a... well, the kids do care, but just follow where I'm going with this. This is Staten Island Little League coach Bob Laterza. He said that Judge blew off his team during the festivities. He said he was promised a meet and greet with Yankees players, okay, at their hotel. But Judge didn't show up. It was DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Boone, Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez. I don't know who Jason Dominguez is, but a bunch of Yankees showed up, right, to the hotel to hang out with the kids. Yay, they all get autographs. Judge didn't show up, and this Laterza, the skipper for the Little League team, thought he needed to call Judge out personally for this.
What? He said that there were going to be Yankees players there, and there was.
You see, I don't know if right. That's where exactly, Wapple. I don't know if Aaron Judge's name was ever mentioned, and if there was some kind of mistake here, it's likely not Aaron Judge's fault. It's likely some miscommunication or something.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy, I mean, for Christ's sake, stop whining. This manager aggravated me, and I don't even like Aaron Judge at all. He said also that Judge did not wave to the kids during the real ball game the Yankees were playing when his kids were sitting behind home plate. He's mad that Judge didn't acknowledge. He said, how about turning around and waving to the New York team, waving to the kids that think you're a hero? They're the ones who pay your salary, he said.
They are not. Absolutely not.
Don't give me that line, okay?
Is this guy just mad that, did he really want to meet Aaron?
Yes.
Aaron Judge?
Yeah. He wanted his autograph.
Yeah, he's one of those adults that gets autographs.
Here's the thing. You're probably right about that, too, but here's the thing. This Little League coach is probably a bigger pain in the ass than any pro athlete you'd ever meet. We've seen how these guys behave.
Mm-hmm.
That pissed me off, and I don't even like Aaron Judge.
Or kids.
Exactly. And by the way, the story goes on to note that pretty much all weekend long, Aaron Judge was all over the place at this friggin' Little League event. He went here to see this team. He went there.
And that's what listeners are texting in.
Yeah.
They saw him with kids the whole weekend.
He got mobbed all weekend. But Mr. Special here, the Little League head coach for Staten Island, he wanted Judge to show up and just do cartwheels all afternoon long.
Yeah, Allen Iverson had a quote once where I'm kind of summarizing. He said, if I sign 500 autographs and stop, the 501st person is going to call me an a-hole.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I love Allen Iverson now.
I do too.
And when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was for him to horribly injure himself on the basketball court. I hated Allen Iverson. I love him now. I love his attitude. He seems like the most genuine effing guy. Have you ever seen when Allen Iverson is sitting at an NBA game and a fellow player comes up to say hi? It doesn't even have to be a star player. It could be a bench warmer that he played a half a season with. He hugs that guy like it's his best friend in the whole world.
He's got a little bit of Charles Barkley in him that way, because when Charles Barkley played, people didn't really like him either. Now everybody loves him.
Yeah, I guess it just took a little. I mean, for me, I just, I don't know what my problem was. I guess it was wolves or nothing. You know what I mean? So I hated everybody.
Well, back then it was a lot of nothing. So.
Yes, it was. But that didn't matter to me, Brad Ryder, because I'm a sucker.
You're a real fan.
AKA a hopeless sucker. All right, speaking of hoops, I love Anthony Edwards, but boy, does he have his head up his ass on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Edwards was sitting around talking on a radio show or something. He recently said that Michael Jordan, prick that he is, Michael Jordan was the only NBA player with skill from Jordan's generation.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
That's just a stupid comment.
Yep.
Come on.
I mean, go on YouTube, for Christ's sake. You never saw a Magic Johnson highlight reel? You never saw Akeem Olajuwon or Larry Bird or
Jerry West?
Well, he was talking about Jordan's era, I think specifically.
Okay.
But even before Jordan, I mean, if you're saying that the only skilled players now are the current players in the NBA,
that is almost exactly what he said.
So you're sadly mistaken, and you obviously don't understand the history of the game, and quite honestly, don't appreciate the history of the game.
He wasn't alive during Jordan's era.
Yeah.
So.
Well, sure, but
that one out.
And I'm not going to cut him slack for that either. I just think that's a dumb comment.
Yeah, it was. He said that nobody really saw skilled players until Kobe Bryant came along.
I disagree.
So Jordan was skilled, and then nobody until Kobe Bryant. But he says now everybody has skill.
Well, what do you mean by skill?
I don't know.
That's the. If you're talking about being able to do the things that Jordan did, maybe there's a certain level of player that Jordan was above, but there were so many NBA players.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say Julius Erving was pretty skilled.
Yeah, you ever heard of Julius?
No kid.
And I'm not going to stay mad at A1 from day one because I love him. I'm not going to stay mad at him. Everyone says something or another that they want to take back.
Right.
I'm maybe not as mad as I'm sounding right now. But Julius Erving, you ever seen the human highlight reel?
Yeah.
Dominique Wilkins. Josh watched Dominique Wilkins dunk the ball once, and Josh couldn't help it. He started to cry.
Yeah.
He started to cry. Isaiah Thomas is pissed off.
Oh.
Isaiah Thomas said this or that about it. You ever notice when Isaiah Thomas smiles, he also looks like he's seconds away from killing somebody?
He does have that look, doesn't he?
He has an evil smile.
Yeah.
But I loved watching Isaiah Thomas when I was a kid. My God. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I know he tries to convince you that his real name is Roger Murdoch and that he's an airline pilot, but I swear to God it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He said it, and I'm sure he'll come back and say, yeah, sorry I blew up. I'm not going to stay mad at Anthony Edwards. Here's a fun headline from a website called sportingnews.com. The Patriots, Broncos, Vikings, and 8 other teams with absolutely no chance to win the Super Bowl.
Let's get right to the point.
They go on to say, let's be honest, certain NFL teams each season have no chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
These 11 NFL fan bases can probably just save all their annoying optimism. Here are the teams with no chance at all. The Patriots, the Broncos, the Panther, the Titans, the Giants, the Commodores, the Aints, the Cardinals, the Sea Ducks is what I meant to say, and the Vikings.
Yeah. So they didn't put the Bears in that category?
No.
Wow.
Because the Bears have Jay Cutler.
I think Caleb Williams is more who they talked about in the article. Yeah.
I find that hard to believe.
I don't know. The Bears might be better than the Vikings this year.
You know, they might be. I think they're going to be about the same. But the Bears aren't going to win the Super Bowl. There's just no way.
Jesus, we'll get back to this in just a minute, but I just received a text from a listener named Roger Murdoch, and he said, listen, kid, I've been hearing that crap ever since I was at UCLA. I'm out there busting my buns every night. Tell your old man to drag Walton and Lanier up and down the court for 48 minutes. What movie? Airplane.
Yeah.
Here's what they said about the Vikings. They elaborate further on the fact that the Vikings have absolutely no chance to win this. They'll be forced to rely on Sam Darnold as their starting quarterback without a quality alternative behind him. They do have a great group of weapons.
Yes.
For Sam Darnold. But that said, their defense is still a work in progress. They mentioned Darnold's turnover-prone nature. The Vikings also play in one of the NFL's toughest divisions, so they're likely to hang around the 500 mark in a best-case scenario. Makes you want to go out and buy some tickets, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Makes you want to go out and buy some. Yeah, they didn't put the Bears in there, Randy.
Bears are who we thought they were.
Oh, Jesus.
That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
God bless them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look this up. Bears are 35-1 to win the Super Bowl, and the Vikings are 80-1.
Whoa.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
So you're telling me there's a chance between the two?
On a Fox Sports story that was published a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
That is amazing. I mean, the Bears will be decent, but...
And all those other teams you mentioned are at least 100-1.
Wow.
And more.
I'm going to say the Bears win it all this year. You heard it here first.
I think the Lions have a way better chance to win it all than the Bears.
They're 12-1.
Never even heard of them. Never heard of them.
Now, I've heard of this dude here.
Should I talk like Denny for this next story?
Yeah.
It'll exhaust.
It's a former NFL player now by the name of Goster Chirilis. Have you heard of Goster Chirilis? Oh, yeah. Have you or have you not heard of him?
I have not.
Neither have I. He's a former offensive lineman.
Right.
You should have broke into, after Denny there, you should have broke into, if you know how to do David Kahn, then you should have said show of hands.
David Kahn? The old,
yeah.
That's what he used to say, show of hands?
Yeah.
That was one of his
Say that
favorite.
all the time. Yeah.
Okay. I ignored this story the first couple of days it was out there because I'm tired as hell of telling stories of people acting up on airplane rides. And I've never heard of this guy. Yes, he's a former NFL player, but I've never heard of him, neither of you guys. But so many people have been talking about it, I thought he had an incident aboard an airplane ride. He took a squeege in the aisle or on somebody's leg or something.
An old lady's, right on an old lady.
For Christ's sake, for a second there, I thought Randy was taking a piss.
Really?
For a second there, I thought you forgot that you're mic'd up and you were taking a whiz bang.
No, of course not.
The diaper would absorb the sound. You wouldn't hear this.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
Thanks a lot.
So
Pretty strong stream for a 66-year-old.
Yeah, no kidding.
Someone's standing on his nuts.
That sounded like me 30 years ago.
So this former NFL player, he's on an airplane ride. He took a piss, Summers.
He's not a little guy, by the way. He's an offensive lineman.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big dude.
I'm sure.
And again, it was like on a 75-year-old lady.
Oh, did he whiz on a 75-year-old lady?
Yeah.
That's good. Wapple's sexual fantasy right there. He was. So the guy was arrested. Yes, for urinating on a fellow passenger.
Was he intoxicated?
I'm getting there. The plane had to be turned around and all that. He said he had an adverse reaction to a sleeping pill. Here's what he said. In preparation for the flight, I took a sleeping medication that I don't normally use, which resulted in behavior that is not indicative of me or something like that. I'd like to apologize to the passengers and the flight crew. Well, you know, and we touched on this way earlier this morning. I'm not going to get into the whole story again, of course, because I am tired of stories about people acting up on airplanes. But I can relate to this. I came undone on an airplane ride once, and that was not representative of my character either. So I'm going to go ahead and say I got this guy's back. I do.
I think it's believable.
Yeah.
It's funny. They talked about how long he peed. 20 seconds all over this.
People
poor lady.
talked about how long.
Yeah.
That is a long time.
You can triple that.
Oh yeah, I could every morning easily.
I just got lucky. Nobody arrested me. They should have.
But they didn't.
It was close. I bet it was pretty close.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, sometimes when you threaten to beat up a flight attendant, they don't take that too well.
Did I do that? Yes, I did. I threatened to beat up a flight attendant after I drank 3.5 bottles of vodka and then I took some Xanax.
The story's like 10 times better when you do it in that voice.
But they are who we thought they were.
Oh, God. 2 hands on the plow. If you want to find me, I'll be hands on the plow.
I miss that, man. I do.
I do. I miss that. I miss the Denny-isms. There were just so many good ones.
He was such a fun character. Okay, do enough people...
Gosh.
Are you reminiscing now?
I am. I did a show with Denny for like 3 years.
I know you did.
I just...
He was a friend of yours.
Denny was fantastic in the hallway. And then you go on the show and he wouldn't say a damn thing.
Really?
No.
So it was difficult at times.
He didn't want to, piss anybody off.
Yeah.
He didn't want to tip his hand. But man, the conversation in the hallway was like blunt and to the point. And
this guy sucks and that guy's terrible.
And I think I've said this story before, but Denny Green is really the person who helped me become the sports director at Channel 11. And the reason why is that we did the Denny Green show. And when Jeff Passolt left and they hired Russell Shamokin.
Oh.
Russell was going to be doing the Denny show. And Denny did not like Russell at all.
What everybody else did, I'm not sure why he did.
No, nobody else did.
I know.
Training camp starts, and Denny is like fuming with the station that he doesn't want to do that. And that's one of the reasons why.
So he pushed you for the gig.
Because Denny and I knew each other and whatever, and he just felt way more comfortable. It was part of the process of me ending up being the regular Monday through Friday sports guy.
Denny's word carried a lot of weight, and that's great. That's great.
It did.
That's very interesting, too, that he was so honest and unfortunate, I guess, for your television show that he wasn't as honest. You're having some real problems with that microphone, Randy Shaver.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's popping and locking. It's like the breakdancing competition. It sounds like the breakdancing competition at the Olympics. It's popping and locking. But interesting that so in the hallway, he'd just walk up and say,
I'll tell you what, that Sean Salisbury sucks.
Sure. I mean, he was, like I said, the stuff that I wanted to talk about on the show, the questions I knew I was going to ask him, I would kind of prep him a little bit, just kind of get a feel for him. And he was great. And then I'd ask him on the show, and he'd never say that stuff.
That's great.
Yeah.
Boy, that Keith Millard needs to put down the drugs and take up the Lord, by God. I'll tell you that right now.
He'd throw Snelker under the bus in the hallway.
Yes.
Do enough people remember who Oscar De La Hoya is to even mention this weird banana hammock boner dance that he put up on social media?
I would think so.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
so, sure.
And we have to talk about this because what is going on?
Well, the two of them, I think, just drink and have a really good time. He's got a lady friend named Holly Saunders. Do I know her from somewhere?
Oh, yes, you do.
She's a golf. Yeah, she's a golfer, or used to be a golfer. Now she's kind of one of those viral people.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's pictures of her on the internet in her drawers everywhere. Josh, did you see the pictures of Holly? So this is Oscar De La Hoya's girlfriend or wife, and I think they just like to get real drunk and put silly things on social media. And the other night they put a video where Holly Saunders is dancing around in her drawers, and then here comes Oscar, who's no kid anymore. This guy's like in his mid-50s at this point, I think, Oscar De La. And he's got a boner, and he's wearing a little pair of panties, and he's just swinging it around.
Take me back to the very last city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
That's him talking about Paradise City. I don't think he knows lyrics.
What did he say?
So take me back to the very last city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
To the very last city.
Take me down
back there.
You posted this the other day, didn't you, Ashley?
Yes, I did.
Randy Shaver, and your name is Brad Ryder. Did you see Oscar De La Hoya's banana hammock boner dance?
I did not.
No.
All right.
Will you bump that up, Ashley?
Yes.
Check it out.
Oh, wait. Okay.
These two have a good time
Yeah.
together.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have a
They're
good
having
time.
a blast.
Boy, she's a lady.
Mm-hmm.
She's man-made, for sure.
Oh, I don't give a pump. What, are you going to be that guy now?
No, I'm just making a comment.
It is pretty clear.
Man-made.
I've never heard that before. I'm going to use that.
Now, this Holly Saunders defended the video, I guess, even though it got taken down from Facebook or wherever the hell it ended up. It got taken. Someone took it down. Maybe they did. No, it sounds like someone else took it down. It was inappropriate. She said, we posted a funny video. It got taken down. I guess some people really hate to see us having fun. Not me. Even though Oscar had a boner, I still had fun watching the video. She said they won't let the haters win. Well, good. I'm going to try to follow these two, Holly Saunders and Oscar De La Hoya. They look like I wonder if they even ever get dressed.
Probably not.
That would be the life, right?
Yeah.
The life where you never have to get dressed.
Well, you're retired now. You can do that.
Yeah, good point.
I still have to get dressed, though. That's the problem.
It looked like Oscar put on a pair of her drawers.
They are tiny.
And he's just wagging it around. What do you think of this? Did he have a bottle of hooch in his hand? I thought he had a bottle of hooch in it.
I didn't see one.
I don't think so.
I want to be Oscar De La Hoya, Molly Sanders. And before we get out of here, before we get the hell out of here, congratulations to a gal from St. Paul by the name of, I'm doing my best here, Daya Lee, D-I-A-L-E-E-Ski, who is now a cornhole world champion.
Wow.
She's a 38-year-old gal, woman. She's got a husband. She's got a kid or two.
4.
But as far as I know, she's the only...
She has 4 kids?
4 kids, yeah.
Wow.
As far as I know, she's the only world champion in the household. She started playing cornhole 3 years ago. Now
It was to kill some time during the pandemic or find something to do.
The pandemic?
Yeah, she was looking for something
The whole
to do.
thing was made up. She was, she traveled, now she travels on weekends to play in and win tournaments around the country. And I'll tell you what, exciting enough that you're going to go to the American Cornhole League World Championships, right? Exciting in itself that you get an invite to that. But you know where they sent her? South Carolina. My God, double the excitement.
That's cool.
Earlier this month, she won the women's singles title at the American Cornhole League World Championships in South Carolina. Dude.
Wow.
If I ever was to run into Mrs. Lee, I only have one question. Can you drink beer while playing for a cornhole world title? Because that's the only way most of us will play that game is if there's a lot of beer on hand.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you drink?
You need aiming fuel.
Can you dump a
aiming fuel? Yeah, would that be like a performance-enhancing drug?
That's a good point.
You gonna be okay, Randy?
Yeah,
Bit of a cold?
I'm still battling.
We worry about you.
I know.
Speaking of beer, real quick. You guys know I stick to one brand of beer usually, Coors Light. This is not an advertisement. It's the one beer that I know 100% will not give me gout. And it just so happens that I also enjoy the taste. Over the weekend, Dana and I went, where were we again?
Memory Lanes, South Minneapolis.
We went to that bowling party with all of Metallica was there, Five Finger Death Punch, Pantera, they were all there at this bowling party that we went to. And they had a lot of different beers in the can. 68683. No, wait's our number. 651-989-9393 if you want to make a joke. And I had two cans of Old Style.
Ooh.
God help us, that was good. It had been so long since, because I used to mix it up before gout made me what I am today. I used to mix it up. You had to drink Old Style. Every once in a while, we'd have a few cans of Hams, Pabst Blue Ribbon. I just wanted to throw that out there to the beer drinkers. I had a couple of Old Styles. Oh my damn, were those good! And now I'm thinking of taking some chances on the weekends. What do you guys think?
Did the gout come back?
It's possible. Brad, that's the thing, is if it's not Coors Light, it is possible that I'll drink a couple of, I used to love to drink Old Milwaukee. Oh, my damn.
That's good.
So it's possible that it'll get me again. But I'm considering taking some chances after how good that was.
I say do it.
Maybe
Why
start
not?
slow.
YOLO.
Do one and see what happens.
All right.
I love how Ashley is pushing you to do it when she doesn't have to worry about the gout.
She's got her own problems. She pissed off her neighbor. We'll get back to that. We can get back to that story some other time. She's got her own friggin' problems. Just for you beer drinking slobs, don't sleep on Old Style. My God, Josh, as soon as it hit my lips.
It didn't burn or anything?
No, as soon as it hit my lips.
I thought you were more of a red wine guy.
Oh my gosh, if I ever saw you with a glass of wine in your hand, I would be really concerned.
Hit me over the head with a hard object.
I would assume that's what happened first.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We got to go, Brad Ryder, Randy Shaver.
See ya.
Okay.
We'll see you guys later. We'll be back in a few minutes on the Programski.
Right now, text HISTORY, HISTORY, HISTORY to 651-989-9393 for a chance to win tickets to the Gaslight Anthem. This is taking place Friday, August 30th at the Fillmore. Prize provided by Live Nation. This keyword is good today, August 21st until midnight. Good luck.
Did you know that Standard Heating opened its doors over 90 years ago? That's right. Tony Ferreira opened the doors in 1930, now ran by his granddaughter Claire Ferreira. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning today and experience the customer service and care that holds true today.
It is savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals that can save you thousands. Visit standardheating.com for all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
We're all juggling life, a career, and trying to build a little bit of wealth. The Brown Ambition podcast with host Mandy and Tiffany the Budgetnista can help.
Let's talk about the financials behind locks. It can be quite pricey, but as your hair locks, it needs way less product. When I had my fro, it was way more costly as it relates to products because my fro was thirsty.
No, it's very expensive. Yeah.
Yes. I need the whole bottle. So.
What, a dime-sized portion of what?
Girl, the laughter.
Brown Ambition.
Wherever you listen.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
What movie? The Warriors. You're a great crowd. Look at you. Great crowd. We appreciate all of you for listening, for dialing into our little radio show. It's 8:33 on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Cubby, let's go back. Let's go back to when we effed around and we found out. We talked about it earlier. Everybody, damn near everybody has effed around and found out in one way or another. Did something, said something.
Can be a blow to the ego sometimes, can it?
You came back it came back and you regret the hell out of it. A blow to the ego?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Quite a few of these.
We asked our listeners to text us and tell us how it all happened. What did you F around with? And then, by God, you found out. Our number is 651-989-9393. If you'd like to give us a message on how you effed around and found out. What did they tell you earlier when they were texting in, Josh?
I like this story. This person said they were in the Navy, stationed in the United Arab Emirates. A buddy and I were getting pie-eyed in a bar. I like how he phrased that. We started mouthing off to a couple of Marines.
Uh-oh.
The Marine knocked my buddy out, so my civic duty was to go stand up for him. I approached the Marine, got the first word out of my mouth, and then I remember seeing the lights on the ceiling. He said the cool thing was the Marine peeled us off the floor and bought us beers after we came to. Found out he was Special Forces.
Oh, man.
And then he says, we effed around and we found out.
So the both of them got knocked out at the same beer hall.
Yeah, same dude.
I'll tell you this right now, Cubby. If you get up and someone knocks you out, I'm going to get up and take my medicine too.
I appreciate that. Same thing.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I'll be knocked out longer and much quicker than you got knocked out.
Somehow you got knocked out before I got knocked out, and you were still seated.
And I was the guy.
Yeah.
How about this one from Backyard Haircut Jesus? He said, I thought I was going to be the next great BMX biker when I was 12. So I tried to do a backflip off a ramp. 9 broken ribs, a shattered jaw. Later, I realized I should look into different professions.
Man.
I was telling him, so I was texting back and forth with him. I was so into BMX biking. I loved it. I had a friend that went pro. I was so jealous. I thought it was great. I never had the balls to do a backflip.
A backflip?
I mean, we would jump off stuff, ramps, everything, but I would never have the courage to do something like that.
No, I don't know anybody who did a backflip
So that's
back in the
impressive.
day.
That's really impressive.
Showed some balls.
You pick him up. You dropped him, Jesus. Played pickleball against his daughter over the weekend. She just made varsity tennis. First time he's ever lost. He said he was giving it everything he had. He said he ran into the fence, black and blue shoulders, fingers cut up, lots of pride lost.
Oh, man.
Catfishing Jesus. Sunday, family member invited me to play basketball with his high school players as he's a coach. I threw up afterwards.
Oh, no.
I'm twice their age and haven't played competitively for over a decade. Angry postal worker Jesus went to Green Day Saturday night, partied like it was 1993 and still feeling it today.
Yeah.
Classic country Jesus effed around with some firecrackers and soup cans and found out. I launched a can. It hit me above my eye, splitting my forehead wide open. My mom was pissed because it was the second hospital visit for him that day, and the hospital was 45 minutes away.
Second time that day.
Eastside Delivery Jesus was drinking at a bar in Egan. A football coach was there. Stuff ended up going down. He shoved him. He said the football coach didn't move, but he fell down.
Oh, no.
This person, after on, had found out by sleeping with someone who is not, quote, available, and then ended up with an STD. Lesson learned.
Oh, dude.
Sure.
Crappy.
That can happen. It was probably worth it.
Tattooed, it could have been. Tattooed
Probably.
low life Jesus. I effed around with Fireball and my one wheel and found out a broken rib really hurts.
Oh. What is a one wheel?
Go ahead, Wap.
It's the one wheel in the middle of a skateboard, and it kind of mimics snowboarding.
You stand on the damn thing, you go shooting down the sidewalk.
I see those more and more.
You look like a total douchebag.
Oh, I want one so bad.
Right. I rode one once. It's harder than it looks.
I think it looks pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm.
More anxiety than hair Jesus. First time he ever effed around with weed. They had a random drug test at work the following Monday.
That's just not even fair. I effed around and found out once when I decided to consume a lot of alcohol and then go into a sauna. I ended up sitting on the coals.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
You're speaking for yourself right there?
Yeah.
You never told us that you sat on hot coals.
Did that do permanent damage?
Yeah, I have a scar. I did tell you guys, but it was like maybe a week, or it was probably like a week after when I busted my face. So that kind of took the
wait a minute.
away.
When you tripped with soup?
You sat on hot coals in a sauna while since you've been working here.
Yeah. Yep. It was like 2 summers ago, something like that.
Yeah, it was when she had all her episodes, like
Ashley season 1, 2, and 3.
Yep. So I just got lost in the shuffle.
Got lost in the chaos that you were leaning into at the time.
That's right.
Is anyone thinking of that scene from The Toxic Avenger?
I've never seen the movie.
Never.
Fair enough.
Up north, Metal Mullet Jesus said when he was little, he was chasing his cousin around with a spray paint can. When he went to spray him, he didn't realize the spray nozzle was facing the wrong way, so he sprayed his own face and hair.
Oh, no.
Man.
That hurts.
Everybody F's around and finds out. Our listeners, as you've heard from Cubby, they got some good ones. Lying. You know, some would even consider lying to someone. Effing around. Don't lie to me. Tell me the friggin' truth. Here's a guy lied to his ex-wife. Told her some kind of a lie. And she busted him for it right when he was walking into the house and she was doing the dishes. He had to dodge every fork, knife, plate, and cup, you name it, got a concussion from a glass cup.
Oh, dude.
He effed around with the truth and found out. Kind of a long story here, but I'll try to get you through it as best I can. When I was 16, Amanda, a listener named Amanda, says, when I was 16, I effed around and found out that just because you're in the middle of nowheres and haven't seen a single car for 45 minutes does not mean you're not going to run into a cop. She just got her driver's license. She's smoking a fat joint and drinking kamikazes while driving.
What a life.
Through the middle of South Dakota. We decided also to light one of those extra large sparklers and wave it out the window as we're driving. Immediately after we lit it and stuck it out the window, we see a damn cop.
Oh.
Pulls us over. She says, "Man, that was not a fun phone call to make to my mother. She didn't even know I was going to South Dakota." Effed around and found out, this is according to Stinkfist Jesus, I effed around and found out by dating a crazy Coon Rapids woman. Oh. 2 totaled cars and a mangled four-wheeler later, I found out. Dude, she totaled your four-wheeler and 2 of your cars? Freaking Coon Rapids.
You're a crazy Coon Rapids woman, aren't you, Ash?
Yep, now I am.
Yeah. Here's a listener who approached this subject completely differently than I thought anyone would. This is from Dragonheart Jesus. Japan effed around and found out on December 7th, 1941.
Oh, my God.
I did not expect anyone to go the patriotic route.
I think we found a winner.
You know what? He's right, though. He did.
You know,
they just marked the anniversary of Nagasaki. Was it just the last week?
It was a crazy thing that went down. Let's just be honest. Josh, did you know that we had Cuckleberry Finn Jesus in the listening audience?
I don't know if I've seen that one.
He effed around and found out not to mess with Dad.
Oh, got his ass whooped by Dad?
I tried to take him, he said. But Dad's old, and old people will do anything to win. He said, when a man, your dad, has your balls in his hand, you lose.
Ninja Turtle Nutcase Jesus said in high school he was in martial arts.
Oh, man, I would love... You know how I'm starting to get good at it, don't you think,
Oh,
Josh?
you are really good at it.
I'm starting to get good at... Oh, my word. Oh, this kid was in junior high and he took martial arts?
High school.
High school.
And after school, he was trying to show his friends how high he could kick. Uh-oh. His planted foot ended up slipping. He smacked his head on the cafeteria floor and got a concussion.
Oh, it happened at school,
And I'm sure they forgot all about it.
I'd love to see that.
And they never probably bring it up to this day.
I hope the hottest girls in school were all standing around watching that.
What's going on, brah? Jesus said he ate 50 deep-fried mini egg rolls in one sitting and shat himself at work that night.
You did.
Yum, though.
50 mini egg rolls. That is a lot.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it
Might have
is.
been worth it.
Did you guys like to do really dangerous things in your parents' garage when nobody was looking?
We got into the backyard wrestling craze for a little bit, so not necessarily in the garage.
No,
but-
I mean, that's different. I'm talking about in the garage where there's tools
yeah,
and
messing
spray
with
cans and
stuff.
fuel and...
What are they like vice grips, maybe? It's the...
You're talking about just a regular vice.
Yeah, yep,
Like a tabletop vice, you turn the thing and the... Yes, what about... Yeah,
Who
my
put the
brother
private
and I,
parts in it?
I'm sorry?
Oh, no, keep going.
We love to crush things, experiment with fire and fuel and spray cans. And yes, we loved that. I don't know how none of us exploded into a million pieces, but we were into effing around in the garage when my dad wasn't looking. Ashley, you were going to tell the story?
Yeah, me and my brother used to see like how far we could twist it without like backing out. So we would put our arm in there.
Oh, you would put your body parts in there?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was so stupid. I
does
could have
kinda
broke
sound-
my arm.
It does kind of sound fun, though. I could see the appeal of that.
Smashing things with hammers was a big thing for my brother and I. Okay, so here is a listener on the topic of effing around and finding out. Took a hammer to a .22 caliber shell.
Oh no.
Whoa.
It shot into his thigh.
Oh,
dude.
Man.
I couldn't tell my parents. I pulled the bullet out myself 3 weeks later.
Oh, 3 weeks later.
All right, how old were you?
He claims it says when I was a stupid kid. They don't mention a specific age. 3 weeks later,
man,
and you didn't have gangrene or something like that.
I enjoy the way the person starts this. So I swallowed too much alcohol. And when I went to headbang at the bar, I wasted my face on the bar and fractured my face. Oh, I bet that was embarrassing.
Oh, God help us. Yeah, I mean, here's a kid who took well, now he's a grown adult. It's capital Sparky Jesus. Took a hatchet to a can of red spray paint. Of course, it gives way and explodes into his face. And he said the really funny part was when he ran into the house to get help, his mother thought the red paint was blood.
Oh, I'll bet.
And he had to tell her, oh, people have effed around and found out. Oh, here's a guy effed around with a table saw. Ended up splitting his thumb into like a hot dog in a microwave.
Yuck.
Taxidermy Jesus was in Alaska fishing with his daughter and niece, showed him how to use bear spray, shot it toward the ground, but the wind swirled it up off the ground and got back in all their faces.
Oh, and he just deep-throated it. It's awesome.
2 words from Pee-Pee Poo-Poo Jesus, who says, condomless boning. Yeah, few people have effed around and found out that.
Oh, that's the only way to go, though. I don't even consider that effing around. It's the only way to go.
Half-assed morning show.
Due to some sexual content, parental discretion is advised.
On 93X.
Just a few more minutes remaining here in today's program. We're about ready to crunk our way out of here. Just trying to come up with a new way to explain us leaving. Sometimes I say tap dance, backflip, cartwheel, crunk. Didn't you and your friends used to crunk dance? Waffle? Yeah.
That would be so hilarious watching a line of us crunking out the front door.
I want to break dance like Ray Gun. Just do some interpretive stuff on the way out of here.
We're about ready to crunk our way out the building. We're going to rock the river again. By damn we are. But it just won't rock as hard as it could because Josh won't be there. He has to go to marriage counseling.
No, I'm going
on
to
September
a
20th.
wedding. A wedding.
You're going to a wedding?
Yeah, it's a wedding. They don't need marriage counseling yet.
Well, I thought that you and your wife were having
No, so you got that mistaken.
Okay,
Yeah.
You're going to a wedding.
Yeah.
All right. So Josh won't be on the river party. Stay tuned. Wapple's going to cough up a set of tickets here at the ass end of the program before the crunking begins.
Mm-hmm.
September 12th. Wapple will tell you all about it, and eloquently, I'm sure.
Oh, no one could say it any better than I can.
He's the guy for that.
But let's close out what's been a fun topic this morning. Effing around and finding out. Everybody's done it. Got a few more text messages here on listeners who have effed around and found out one way or another. This one, I don't know, picturing this just cracked me up. A listener says, my dad brought home a nice antique bicycle in excellent condition.
Seems like a dad thing, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dad has done the exact same thing.
That's hilarious. Just in the first place, seeing your dad wheel an antique bicycle up the driveway, you're a little kid, you don't get it. So this listener says, my buddy and I thought it was garbage. We took it out, we smashed it, we friggin' destroyed it. Dad came home real pissed. Turned out that bicycle was worth a bunch of money, and he punched me full strength in the chest, and I fell straight on my ass.
Oh, man.
Let's finish his halfway in, Jesus. Just picturing a couple of 13-year-olds, Yay, a stupid anti-bike. Let's go beat it to death. An anti-bicycle. That's antique. Can't you picture yourself doing the same damn thing?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Ghosting the bike off of stupid stuff.
Oh, that's the best.
I like this one from Dodging Human Turds, Jesus, because he's trying to give somebody crap, pardon the pun. When he was a kid, his brother was really into skateboarding, so he wanted to mock him, make fun of him. So he gets on his old man's creeper, as he called it, tries to show him how he can skateboard, and then knocked himself out, came to and started screaming that he thought he was paralyzed.
I can't feel my legs.
Oh, the instant karma. Instant karma.
Do you guys remember a few years ago when every hipster dork in town wanted to sign up for adult kickball?
Yeah, that was a phase for a while.
I bet you Dana signed up for adult kickball, didn't you? Didn't you?
No, I didn't.
I can actually see that too. It seems like fun. They have leagues where you have to keep a beer in your hand.
Oh, come on. There's a friggin' reason why it was big when we're second graders. And don't stop it with the beer thing. Whenever a lame sport comes up, someone always says, well, we drink beer. You can drink beer anywhere. Dana, it's time to admit that you played years of adult kickball.
I played one time. I wasn't even in a league.
I knew it.
Well, no, I just... Okay.
I friggin' knew it.
I played one time, and I was bored out of my mind because I was, like you said, Nick, I was like, we don't need to do this in order to drink this beer right now. It was at a party. My buddy's like, hey, we got a baseball field. Let's go play kickball. And it was so boring.
There's a reason why we did it in second grade. One of our listeners tore their hip flexor trying to play kickball.
Oh, man.
Just winding up to kick it.
Just going to kick a home run there, huh?
I don't go to the hospital because there's no way I could admit.
No.
I couldn't. I think if I got my D caught in one of those, what are those things in the pool, Josh?
The jet?
The jet. I'd rather admit, I'd rather go to the hospital for that than have to admit that I played adult kickball.
Nordy Jesus found out that a Chevy Impala doesn't drift well at high speeds. He went flipping through the air like Ricky Bobby.
Oh, no.
The best Jesus said, I got into a fight at Moose Country in Mendota Heights.
Oh.
This was many years ago. He said, the dude hit me with a legit twist of fate like he was Jeff Hardy. I didn't even know what to do, so I just had to give up.
Yep. That's all you can do at that point.
Did he even do the dance?
Dude got the twist of fate at a bar?
And survived.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, Jeff Hardy's won many intercontinental titles with that move.
He just threw up the side and then twisted him.
Nate said when he was a kid, he was chasing his brother down the basement stairs, jumped off the fourth stair from the bottom, rung his forehead on the basement ceiling, woke up on the stairs to his brother laughing. I effed around and found out, he said.
Now, this is the ultimate, in my opinion. The ultimate effing around and finding out. Dude was in an argument with his girlfriend. And in the heat of the moment, I mean, they were really arguing. In the heat of the moment, he said, you know what, just shoot me. She storms out of the room. She grabs a .22 caliber pistol, came back and shot the guy in the mouth.
No way.
What?
Oh, my God.
He's dead?
No.
Well, he texted in.
He's texting from beyond the grave? Ow.
Oh.
Yes, Wapple. He wrote this beforehand.
Yeah.
He did. He wrote
If
this.
anything ever happens to me.
Yes, if anything ever happens to me, send this to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
If we're ever talking about this exact topic.
Dude, she left the room, grabbed a pistol, and shot him in the mouth.
That is the perfect effed around and found out.
Yeah.
He had to have what's called here extensive dental work.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't find out much more than that.
Oh.
That, I mean, my goodness. That what a terrible lesson to learn. I hope everything's back to normal.
I friggin' hate myself now. I do.
Getting master plumbed Jesus said, can you please give a shout out to all the public service employees working at the Minnesota State Fair? She's the EMS coordinator. They've been prepping for weeks to have their region's EMS staff ready and aid stations for whatever ails the fairgoers. Yes.
In case somebody goes down skis.
Yeah.
Until they F around, then find out.
Right. Somebody might do that. And she said, we're ready for you, but hope you all don't need us. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm glad that you're there.
We all are, definitely. Best of luck to Korean Jesus' mom having her first surgery on the path to becoming cancer-free. Happy belated 16th anniversary to Slayer Steven and his beautiful heavy metal wife, Mrs. Slayer Steven, and have an awesome Wednesday.
The 93X half-assed morning show. 93.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
It is savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals that can save you thousands. Visit standardheating.com for all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.